from bone soup.
I knew it. I knew that's where you were going.
Bone soup. Isn't that disgusting?
Let me get my spoon.
So I wrote Master Formalities, and then I submitted it to my publisher, 47 North, and thankfully they liked it and they published it. And then I wrote I think I wrote The Authorities, but 47 North is a science fiction. Right. And there's very little, extremely tiny bits of science fiction in it. It's, actually the little things I had in it that were science fiction, like they were so light that they actually became, reality within like 2 years.
Okay.
Like before the book was published, drones were better than I had them in that book.
Right.
But anyway, so I self-published The Authorities, and then I wrote Run Program, and they published that, and I was very happy about that. But I've sort of done a mix of self-published and published through either 47 North or through Audible.
Okay.
I did one recently on True Crime Tuesday about Havana Syndrome, and I had on a British intelligence agent, Frank Milburn, and I got good reception about it. Frank is on the inside. In fact, George Knapp had him on Coast to Coast as well. And he's got documents. He's got things that, and this is how much it spooked me, Nick. And I have not talked on the show about this at all.
Okay.
We did the show on Havana Syndrome, and I'm talking to one of my buddies, and I think it was 3 days after we did the show on Havana Syndrome, the CIA comes out and says, Havana Syndrome did not originate in Russia. After Frank comes out and says, I have documents that show Havana Syndrome originates in Russia, that they use RF energy.
I think for Eberron, one of the things that we were aiming for was the experience would be a little different. Eberron had a strong sense of like, we're going to echo pulp novels. And so Eberron was actually, we started I remember pitching, we're going to do like, pick a character, and these are episodic character stories, and the authors can have a bigger arc, but we're really pushing for, this is the adventure of Abraxas Wren versus this is a trilogy about Abraxas Wren. And so Forgotten Realms for a long time was much more trilogy focused. And that might be trilogy about the same characters, but you really had one strong narrative arc over that. Obviously, if you read Brimstone Angels, I did the Eberron thing, but I think that was because they liked how that was working and they wanted to do that more.
The thing I'm still best known for, it was called Night Train, and it was about basically a train full of vampires, and that one just captured everyone's imagination. And from there, I went to reading over one of the first source books they released, and then I ended up writing the second one, Hucksters and Hexes, and maybe the third, Fire and Brimstone, and then on from there. So it was something I had thought about getting into.
Those are some core books for that system. Like when you wanted to play the game, other than the main book, those books, those two that you just mentioned right now, those were huge content pieces for people that wanted to play certain roles.
I was a huge fan of Star Trek as a kid. I remember the original series. I was so upset when it went off. I was like 10 years old, and I loved it. So the first real Star Trek episode I got, and it was the best part I played, was on Deep Space Nine. I played a Bajoran resistance leader, and I had the little funny little thing on my nose.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And then the casting people really liked me, and they would bring me in for stuff, and it was smaller roles, oftentimes just to get my health coverage. But I remember one time when I played a Starfleet officer. It was on was on the one where the Borg was eating everybody. I forgot the name of the movie, but
First Contact? No.
yeah, First Contact. Yeah, it was First
Contact. Okay.
Yes, you were asking about the licensing process. With Batman in particular, it was a two-stage thing. We do not have a direct license for Batman. We were able to work through our friends at Cryptozoic. And without them, there would have been no Batman project.
Okay. Shout out to Cryptozoic.
Yes, absolutely.
Worlds, as we mentioned, you play other games. Is there a key that you have for making your own, people that are listening that might be GMs that might be new to it? If you're making your own world, is there one or two, little quick notes that you'd be like, this is a key that's really helpful for world building as a GM?
Well, over the 55 odd years or 56 years I've been doing this, I've tried just about every way. And there's no one true way. There's one.
It's time to start the podcast. It's time to play some games. It's time to have some fun here on the Epic Show tonight.
We'll see some off the pod here. Enjoy some great alerts. We'll have a grand old time here watching Epic Realms tonight. We love it when we come here. We clip all of the screens. The chat gets kind of trolly on Epic Realms games. But that's an awesome part of the Epic family. So let's enjoy the show now and start another hype train. We'll see the spicy chips fly on the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, epicational. This is what we call the Epic Show.
Awesome. I am good. How are you? I'm super happy to be here. Oh, you're.
If you're waiting for a hot train and you've got some bits to spare,
I'm so happy.
drop a sub or an alert and
Oh.
we're sure to get you there.
You're muted.
The spicy chips are gonna fly when we get that train up high. It's a spice train. Watch out, 'cause it's a spice train. We're the best, just a spice. Hey, don't mess around. 'Cause it's a spice train.
So that is the Spice Train song. Welcome on in, everybody. And again, like I said, welcome to Epic Realms presents Off the Pod. It's not a podcast, sort of podcast. It's kind of sort of a podcast, vodcast show. We are joined by Classic Sam. Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. We've got all kinds of amazing topics for you. And I probably shouldn't ignore the level 4 hype train that's currently going on, which means I have to eat 3 of these things right now. We're currently 65% to level 4. And these are just the crumbs. These are the crumbs at the bottom. So it's like the extra spicy stuff, Sam.
So it's really all the dust and
all
the,
of the dust and everything.
flavor
Do you like
and all
spicy
the-
stuff? Do you do well with spicy?
I'm okay with it. I just don't like. I don't think that your food should put you in pain. I don't think that your food should put you in pain. So my level of spice is just like a comfortable little heat. Not that. That is epically funny because that is level 5 now.
It's now, yeah. So thank you, Rockheim, for that. And of course, Classic Sam, thank you for participating in making me eat these, because 2 of these are yours. And yours alone.
So happy. That makes me so happy. Oh my God. Are you gonna be okay?
Okay, here's number 2.
Oh, that's great. I love it. So how's your day been so far? Because my day has been hectic.
Well, my day's been okay up until now.
Monday, this is great though. This is
That was
making me
what?
so
That was
happy.
6, right? That was 5,
That
6.
was 6. Yeah, that was 6. Yeah, no, we're at level. We're 56% at level 5, so you're okay.
Okay, here we go. That's actually 3 right there.
Oh, that is great. I love this.
I'm going to need to go downstairs and get the other bag if this happens again today.
Oh, this is great. I am so ecstatic right now.
I'm literally handful of crumbs, of powdered crumbs.
Oh, that's perfect.
So there's it's so bad.
Oh,
I'm
this is
trying not to
great.
choke to death.
You're probably gonna need water eventually or something to drink.
Well, water spreads the
because-
capsaicin around. Water is actually bad.
Really?
Yeah, it makes it worse. It spreads it around. You
Oh,
need like a
wow.
milk or something. Alcohol. Ellen Brown taught me that alcohol helps kill capsaicin, which I don't
Okay,
have up here.
Which you do not have. I'm so sorry for you. I mean, it's great for your chat because it's hilarious, but sorry for you.
I keep a roll of paper towels here just for this.
Oh,
Because I can't wipe my
yes.
face, right? I
I
can't
was
touch
about
my
to say,
face.
don't rub your eyes.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Which I've done before. I've done that. I've reached into the bag and got it right here from the bag
Oh,
onto my wrist
no.
and not realized it and went like this.
Oh. Oh no. Oh, I feel so bad for you. That's awful. I'm so sorry. I mean,
You're so sorry. I'm so sorry that I did this to you.
I'm so sorry. I mean, look, it's definitely to your benefit. However, I only did it because now I know what happens when a hype
I
train.
don't know if you can see my eyes watering a little bit on the.
Yes, up to the side. Yep. Oh, that's all. That made my day. Totally made my day. All right.
Guys, today our topics are awesome. Classic Sam had some amazing topics. One of which I saw the word and I was like, I don't know what that means. And I looked it up. I'm like, oh yeah, I studied this in college. Okay, hold on. Let me write. I don't think I have any on my shirt, so let's wipe my eyes
you should
off
be
on my
okay.
shirt.
Okay.
Oh, it's getting worse. So here's the thing: these chips, the more you eat, the worse they get. Like 1 isn't as bad as 2. The heat ramps up.
See, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. Food should not put you in pain.
Oh.
Like the purpose of food is to be enjoyable and a lovely experience and just relaxing. This does not seem relaxing to me. This seems like like you're in a significant amount of pain.
Yep, and there's some pain. There's definitely some pain. It is uncomfortableness. It's
Yeah.
not as bad as the 1 chip challenge, which I did.
Really? Oh no.
That
Absolutely
was the
not.
worst decision I've ever made in my life.
Absolutely not.
Worst decision of all time.
That's an absolute no for me. Like that. Yeah, my sister's good at it. My sister and my brother totally fine with it. They'll like make sandwiches, put hot sauce and all type of stuff on it, and I'm just like, why are we doing this? Like, this doesn't seem like a good good time for you. Like, it seems like your mouth is on fire, your eyes are watering, your nose is running. How is this fun?
Yeah. There's some. It's not fun. It's difficult. It's definitely a thing. Oh.
Breathe.
Okay.
You can do this.
I need to focus. here. We've got a
You can
show
do
to
this.
do.
I
Dang it.
believe in you.
What's that?
I believe in you. You can do this. Oh, you can power through.
I can try and power through. By the way, chat, welcome on in. Katie, officially first and unofficially first. Welcome on in, Katie. Redneck Jedi with a sub, 32 months. Thank you so much for that. Bentley, 34 months, lurking with love. Of course, Rockheim with a resub as well, 42 months. Welcome on in, everybody. Completed at level 4.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, guys, for the hype train. I was telling Sam earlier. I go, it hasn't happened in a while on and off the pod, but once in a while we get a hype train, and this is what I do. The odds of it happening are slim. It hasn't happened in a while. Oh, I just did it. Hopefully I didn't get any on my wrist.
Oh no. You literally said it hasn't happened in a while, then you got up.
Yeah, it hasn't
Until
happened
it's
in a
on the
while,
drink.
and then like it started while we're on the starting soon screen. It's like, what?
Exactly.
Thank you guys so much for that. I appreciate all of you. Voodoo coming in, forever lurking with a sub. 33 months. And of course, Classic Sam gifting out sub. Thank you so much for that, Sam.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that. Redneck Jedi is just laughing, guys laughing at me. And of course, yeah, muted. Thank you so much for pointing out that it was muted. Once in a while, OBS will steal my microphone and be like, it's default microphone. And it's like,
Yes.
well, this is my default microphone, so use this one.
Yeah,
Son of
my
a gun.
OBS does the same thing to me, or it will, like we were talking about earlier, it will adjust my levels just because it can, and I can't figure out why. Stop adjusting my stuff.
Yeah,
Leave
it
alone.
exactly where it is. Don't change stuff. I don't want it changed.
It's totally professional. Like,
Yeah, right?
Totally professional. I got this. We got this. It's perfectly fine.
So, guys, some of the topics we have today: navigating niche spaces alone, which is a shorter version of kind of what the topic was, but I needed to fit it into the thing, so that's kind of how we worded it. Why is it when I go live, these buttons don't work? Intersectionality. No, guys, it's not what you think. Intersectionality with the C. Finding your place in that world. So this is the word that I didn't know what it meant, and I had to look it up, and I was chatting with my wife. I was like, oh, I remember this. I remember this entire subject. And I love sociology. I'm big into how groups work and stuff like that. And had there been decent career fields other than teaching that had to deal with sociology, I could either, with a sociology degree, you can either teach or you can go work for the FBI. Those are your options.
Yeah. That's literally all you can do is either work for the FBI or teach. I mean, I guess you could technically become a social worker in a weird, or like work for the city, municipality in a weird way. But yeah,
but you can do that without a degree.
Yeah, that's true. 100% true. 100% true. So
yeah, that's going to be a topic. Then we're going to take our quick little break after that, and then we'll come back. And we're going to talk about the 2024 D&D Player's Handbook. What does it mean for us? What does it mean for gaming? And here's the thing. I'm going to make Classic Sam here do all the hefty lifting for that, because I don't know a ton about the 2024 book, but I do have opinions. And we'll talk about that. Oh, you got it already.
I have an early release. I got an early release. I've been reading it on stream on Fridays. It is simultaneously interesting and infuriating, but we'll get to that.
Okay, sounds good. And of course, we have potluck, you guys. We also have potluck that we do at the end, so that's where we talk about whatever, kind of what we're doing right now, right? We're kind of what we've been doing. We've been, just kind of whatever. As one of our favorite GMs usually says when he comes on here, you want to just sit around and BS for a while?
Oh,
what we're gonna do. So
that's so sweet.
He usually says it while we're in the middle of an RPG on stream.
Okay. Yeah, never mind.
It's become an iconic phrase here that a lot of people use, and like they'll just randomly, do you want to just sit around and bullshit for a while? Sure.
Just roll in once, see what happens. I love that. That's so sweet. It's always fun to have people like chatting with you and doing like the whole thing, with you, as opposed to like, I'm by myself,
All by myself.
All by myself.
So,
okay.
So starting out, you mentioned navigating niche spaces alone.
Yeah.
That wasn't the exact phrasing that you used. Let me pull up the exact phrasing. Where is it? I got so many things here. We've had a long list of chatting here, so let me see here.
I like the Cajun Spice type.
I'm reading something, but I don't think that's what. Going at it alone in niche spaces is kind of what you said. So what do you mean by that? Let me start the timer here. What do you mean by that? Going at it alone in niche spaces?
So what that means is that a lot of times, if you're in a bigger space, like if you're just video gaming, it's super easy to navigate that space. You know what to do. You've seen examples. There are things that you can take from and put on your own stream. That's perfectly fine. Spaces like the TTRPG community are very small. So it's very niche, especially like when you niche further down to Dungeons and Dragons, or even further down to an unknown TTRPG. And what ends up happening is there are no examples of what to do or how to break into that world. When I first started, it literally just started me just hanging out with people's streams. That's
Yeah.
literally what it was. And then eventually I decided like I should stream. I would like to talk to some of these people. But the beginning of that was who would possibly talk to you? I'm no one in this. So entering into that, getting a foot in the door is seriously one of the most difficult things I've ever done since starting this. Aside from becoming a paramedic, one of the hardest things I've ever done.
Yeah.
Mm.
So what do you think is the spicy chips? Oh my god. What do you think what do you think is what makes that a challenge? And do you think that's a challenge for other things as well?
I think the part of the challenge is that part of it comes from just personal things. What's the word? Imposter syndromes type of things, like those type of mental health issues. But also it comes from, as a small community, even though it's very welcoming, the TTRPG community is loving and welcoming and super enthusiastic when new people come in.
Yeah, for the
For the most part. But when you are coming in as a streamer or someone who wants to do the professional space or be part of the actual play, that's when it becomes a little bit trickier because people tend to want to protect their not only their privacy, but their mental health and their peace a little bit. Not necessarily to like not let you have a piece of the pie, but just because probably for a safety issue, but also for I guess a connection issue, not to get the wrong person connecting with you. Not everyone's going to get along, obviously, but sometimes some people come into the space specifically because they want to be, I want to be the next Matt Mercer, and that's not a good motivation. So a lot of times you'll find that if you're starting to stream in this type of gaming community, you may get some resistance. And it's not because people are trying to be mean, it's just because they're being cautious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and not knowing, coming in completely blind and be like, I don't know. That's like trying to get into a private club, right? Where you you don't know who you need to know. And you're like, I want to be part of this, but I don't know where to get started. How often do we hear like, I want to role play, but I don't know what to do. I don't know how to start.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
And so, yeah, how does somebody get into that or anything really for that matter? I want to be a professional wrestler. Where do I start? Well, start by asking a professional wrestler, right?
That's literally what it is. And it's funny because you have to, in order to start streaming, whether it's just,
and you have to cross your fingers that they're the right person, that you're asking the right person, right? Because there might be some, oh yeah, I role play and they don't have a clue. They might role play, but they don't have a clue.
Like, oh yeah, I DM all the time. I could do that. And then you sit at a table and they don't have any books. Like, I'll say this: if you are a dungeon master or a game master, and you have no books or resource materials at your table, at your fingertips, you're not a good dungeon. No one knows all the rules, so it's impossible. So if you're asking,
or they're so good that they don't need it because they're
even the best dungeon masters, whether it's edited out or not, have a resource somewhere near them. I guarantee it. I guarantee you, Matt Mercer or Brandon Lee Mulligan has a resource next to them. They might edit it out for reasons, but I guarantee you there's a resource somewhere near them.
Yeah.
It has to be. It's impossible. The rules change so much. A lot of times because a lot of people homebrew, they forget what's the actual rule. Like I've done that a bunch of times where I've homebrewed something like, crap, what's the actual rule for this? Right. So it happens. But if you're deciding to that one day, like I want to become a DM streamer, or I want to become an actual play streamer, or I want to do podcasts based on TTRPGs, yes, ask questions. I will say ask questions privately. don't go in someone's chat, and start like, hey, I want to be a TTR. You just start typing away. I want to be a TTRPG, and take over the stream asking all these great questions, but not the time or the place.
Yeah.
And it usually turns people off.
Yeah, you could always, do it privately. If you're, to be honest, for me, if somebody comes in here and asks questions, I personally don't have a problem with it, but some people do.
Mm-hmm.
But also, become a member of that community. Become an established member. Hang out for a while. Get to know everybody. Get to know on whether or not it's the place to ask that. Don't just walk into a random stream and just start answering questions.
Exactly.
So a lot of TTRPG streams, especially the live action ones, they don't read the chat.
Yeah.
They just do the show and then they're out of there. Yeah, and they have one person moderating the chat and running the chat and interacting. They're it's not that interactive.
It's not that interactive. Or if you do find a stream that is doing a podcast or interview stream or just chatting stream about D&D or whatever TTRPG there is, hang out with them. Like you said, hang out with them, but also go in their Discord if they have a Discord. Follow them on the other social medias. You can ask questions there. A lot of the times, people who do this regularly have a TikTok where they will give advice on what to do. Or you will see in their about tabs, like whole information about their setup or information about how to stream. Like Mindari yesterday on my stream is a stream consultant. If you stream, go down 15 minutes, you pay the nice lady and you get all the information that you need. But a lot of the times it starts off with being genuine. So if you are coming in here and this goes for any, not just TTRPG, but for any streaming or any type of social media outlet where you're trying to break into, don't just come in without being genuine, one, and also knowing that you need to be part of that community. So establish yourself in the community. Hang out, like you said, talk to people. Please talk to the chat, especially the chat.
Right.
And
speaking of chat, guys, if you have 10 cents to put in on this, if you have a topic, a thought, a conversation you want to add to this topic or any of the topics that we've got coming up, feel free to participate and be part of it. That's what this show is all about, right? This whole show is all about, let's all be here as a conversation. It's not just the two of us, it's all of you guys as well. So awesome. Feel free to put your 10 cents in there. And again, this doesn't have to be just, role playing. Board games is very similar to that too. That's also a very niche space. Yeah.
But board games is very similar to that. I got to play with oh my god, now that I'm thinking about their name, I can't think about their name.
I don't know what you're talking. I don't know, so I can't.
So I was playing with my One Shots Tavern, and they invited me to play a wonderful board game called Mapamundi. Loved it. Okay. RPG. That's what it was, and it was so much fun. And I realized when I went to Gen Con, and also when I played on your channel with Zeppi, when I went to Gen Con, board games are huge there, but a lot of people, it's just, you could tell they were just into that. It's very, very like, that's what I'm into. They did not branch out. They did not go from the table. That's what they did. It was
that's like, I want to play a board game, and I want to play a board game, and I want to play a board game, and I want to learn these board games, and I want to pick up board games, and that's it. That's what they go there for.
That's it. That's all they go for, and that's cool. And you just have to know where it is. But if you're niching down to TTRPGs, board games even more niche. That's even more niche. And then if you're niching down to designing, good luck.
Right.
Like, you're a game developer, good luck for you, because that is one of the hardest things, one, to break into, and two, to do.
To successfully get it out there, right?
Yes, it's super hard.
And you can there's so many people that are like, I have this idea for a board game.
Mm-hmm.
What do I do? Make it.
Yeah, make it. And that's the thing. Like,
but then they're like, well, where do I go? Who do I talk to? How do I distribute? How do I, whatever. And these are all very valid questions. Because there's always yes, you can Kickstarter, but here's the thing. You still have to figure out, okay, well, where do I go to get it printed? How do I get it?
this-
Where do I go to get a box made? Mass
art.
boxes made. How do I do all of these things when I'm doing that? It's a raid!
Yes.
Let me pause the timer for the raid. Tide mode coming on in with the raid. Tide mode, our resident Phasmophobia expert.
Ooh.
Welcome on in, Raiders. How you doing, Tide? Thank
Wow,
you for
that
the
is
raid.
I
Let's give a
love
shouty
that
outy here.
emote.
Let's
I'm
watch a
gonna
clip for
actually
Tide.
go fucking nuts if this is a hangman. Chat. It's been nice knowing you. If I pull a hangman default, I'm just praying you get a high priestess, so I'll see you
Tide's
all
gonna die.
in the afterlife.
It'll probably revive.
Oh, you are shitting me.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
Tide.
Hello.
Predicted it. We're so
Yeah.
mad. What are the odds? That's one of the new things in Phasmophobia. Is the deck of cards.
I'm
New to me.
terrified
I
of
haven't
games
played in a hot minute. I think the last time I played Phasmophobia was with Tide, and
Mhm.
it was an eye-opening experience to just watch him be like, "Do this and this and this. It's this one. Let's go." And it's like, wait, what? What? We're done already?
Yeah, I am games like that. I love them, but they terrify me. So if you want to see me freak the hell out, convince me to do a game like that.
All right, so that's what you're doing next. Then you're gonna do
Absolutely not.
Ah!
Absolutely not. I think I did. What did I do? I did. Oh God. I did some like werewolf like game. I forget what the name of it was. Totally cool, very fun. Like pick your ending type of thing. Terrified me. Terrified.
Epic, convince her. We need to do 3 people in Phasmophobia lobby.
All right, so I'll think about it. I'll generally think about it for this entire stream.
Okay.
I'll let you know at the end of the stream.
Sounds good. Again, welcome on in, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We got some do we have some new people, or is that all people that I didn't get any notifications of new people, but welcome on in, Soapy Bird. They love Angie, that Dom guy. Welcome on in, everybody. I appreciate you coming in with the raid. Please stick around. This is a great show. It's a completely interactive show. We cover 4, but technically 3 different subjects. That's completely interactive. If you want to put in your 10 cents on the topic, we're currently talking about navigating niche spaces alone and getting into like very niche groups. Like, I like getting into the Phasmophobia community. Phasmophobia is a niche group. Getting into tabletop RPGs, that's a niche group. You want to be whatever. How do you get into these groups? How do you become a member of the community that you're not already a part of or you haven't been raised in? That's kind of our current topic right now. We're also going to move on over in a bit. We're going to talk about intersectionality, which is, if you don't know what it is, we'll teach you what that means.
Yeah.
And finding yours and where you fit in, because it's a lot of where you fit in, right?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
So it's a lot to do with cultures. It's a lot to do with finding your place. So it's a really cool topic, and feel free to stick around for that. Of course, we're going to talk D&D 2024, the new book, which Classic Sam has right there, and what it means for gaming, what it means for tabletop role-playing. We're going to be talking about all of these things, so feel free to stick around, hang out. And then we've got Potluck, where we talk about anything, something you guys bring up, something we want to talk about, whatever, all kinds of stuff. So please stick around, hang out with us, chat with us, or just chat with each other. All of the things.
So, but yeah, so the one thing I will say for the niche thing is that once you are in, you need to kind of guard your mental health a little bit. Like, you need to find someone to check in with. If it's your people in chat, someone that you've gotten close to, with someone who not necessarily knows about the community but still understands what you're going through. Find someone to speak to, because this is one of the hardest things that you will do, and it will can I swear?
Yeah. Did you hear the clip? Did you hear the clip?
Yeah, that's true. It will fuck with your head. I am telling you, streaming will fuck with your head.
Yeah.
It is one of the most, not only loneliest, yes, you have all these people that you meet, they're great friends, but at the end of the day, when the camera goes off, you're like, I am sad and I don't know why.
Well, there's, when it comes to streaming, and we can talk about this for Potluck as well, there is that, you're doing stuff and you're go, and your adrenaline gets up there. It's just like, those that don't know, I used to be a professional wrestler, that's why I bring it up. There's that, once the show is done, then you have to come down from that high, and it sucks.
Yes, it
And that's
sucks
very
so
similar for
bad.
streaming as well. So
Yeah, it's very similar for streaming. The other thing that's I think might be similar is that when you first start, and my advice is turn off the view account. Don't look at it. Turn off the view account.
oh, I
don't look
always
at it.
I always have it up right in front of me at all times.
Really?
Yeah, I
Like-
monitor
like,
that stuff like there's no one, because you can't improve if you don't know what's going on.
That's
you know.
true. That's true.
So I
I'll
literally
say-
I track all the metrics and I watch them. I'm like, okay, what did I do here? What did I do there? Oh, was it the time that I was doing or whatever? But
See, I like that for afterwards. Like I will look at it after. During your stream, turn it off. Like if you're streaming, don't, because when I first started, I would stare at that number. Like I would like look at the number. No one's in here. No one's talking to me. Why am I talking to myself? And I look, it's one person to be a bot. You know. So for the first few, like I would say weeks, don't do it. Just don't do it. You're gonna upset yourself, and you're gonna come off stream, and you're gonna wonder why you're doing this. You spent hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars on a setup, and you're like, why am I doing this? This is for nothing. So don't do it.
yeah. Once you get into a niche space, you mentioned
Mhm.
getting in there and then like, okay, you found your group and you're in there, but then there's still, and we'll get into that, a little bit in the next topic as well, because in every culture, there's still certain norms that are set and certain things. So no matter what your niche space is, whatever the little detail thing is, if it's whether it's the Dead by Daylight community or whether it's the tabletop RPG community or whatever, once you're in, you found a place, you can kind of get in there and kind of still you're navigating around even though you're in that niche space. But yeah, there's that whole thing of like, okay, what's okay to do, what's not okay to do. Like tabletop role playing, it's like, okay, well, is it okay if I just want to fight things all the time and just roll dice and not really interact and just kill stuff? Is it okay to min max? It's still because somebody comes in, they don't know it's a game. So if it's like a video game, you want to build whatever the ultimate thing is. In order to play the game to the maximum effect, so you can get to do the high level raids or do end game content, you have to maximize and figure out that thing. And it's like, so people might think that that's the right thing to do in tabletop RPGs as well. And it's okay, well, I've got 5 dump stats and my strength is 106. So, but I'm a barbarian, so it doesn't matter. Hulk smash.
I was saying that you need to learn the rules to break the rules. That's
right.
So you need to learn the rules to break the rules. I think part of that goes back to before you start streaming, to enter the different communities, go to different channels, go to TikTok, Instagram, like Twitter. It's Twitter, not X, Threads, whatever. But interact with those communities. But also, if at all possible, and I'm just saying this as a advice, you don't have to, but if it's at all possible, find a game in your community and play. Actually play with people, because then you understand how personalities work. You understand what happens at a table, the dynamics of that table. Especially you as a new person coming in, everyone has to feel each other out. So you can't just walk into a game and just be like, oh, murder, like kill. That's not gonna work, because people are gonna be like, okay, you suck, get out our table. But if you interact in real life, that's when you kind of learn the game actually, and also understand community more, because the outside community in real life community is the online community. Same people, they just happen to be people that you see face to face.
Yeah, I think there's also the in the part of learning to navigate that, to not only understand what the rules are, but branching out, right? So you get into a board game group and it's like, okay, you're just the 5 people, right? And you play with them for 5-6 years and you have a certain way to do it. And then you go someplace else on a one-off. You go to a Gen Con, you're like, oh, I love that game. I play that all the time with my friends. And you sit down and you go, oh, crap. These guys are playing the rules wrong. And then you realize the guy running the table is the owner of the game. Oh, we've been playing the game wrong.
Yeah.
So branch out, because like I've done that before. I've done that with lots of games where like this is how I interpret the rules.
Yeah.
And we get used to it. Or somebody in the group goes, they're GMing and they make up a rule or whatever, and it sounds logical and it makes sense, and then you roll with it for 20 years, and then later you find out that person just made that crap up. That wasn't actually a rule, right?
Perfect example of that is Uno.
Right.
Uno,
everybody's got their own
the
rules.
perfect example. Every house has their own rules. Like, I've gone to different houses. I've gone to like friends' houses. I've gone to different cons where we end up playing Uno for whatever reason, and the rules are wildly different. But if you go to the people who make Uno, they're like, you can't do that. You know, everything that people do, they cannot do. Exactly, chain drawing twos. You know, you can't do that. You can't tell me I can skip and then skip the next person. They can skip me. You can't do that. But that's what happens. So yes, definitely sit down at different tables. And also, if you can swing it, because I know it's expensive, go to conventions.
Yeah.
Go to Comic Cons, go to gaming cons, go to cons. You have to.
Go to shops that have events. You know, I know where I'm at. There are probably at least 7 or 8, and I'm sure there's way more than that. But off the top of my head, I could probably name. I probably named 6 or 7, honestly. Stores. I said 7 or 8, and then I started thinking. I'm like, I could probably name 6, maybe 7, but probably more closer to 6 shops that are like gaming stores or, you know, role-playing stores that do events that you can go to and do things. This isn't just gaming, guys. This is anything. Whatever your niche is. If you're into doing bonsai, right? If you're into doing the potted plant things, and you're into that, there are places that you can go to do that and find that. If you're into, you know, knitting, if you're into craft, anything like that, there is a place, unless you're out in the middle of nowhere, that you can go to meet people with that.
I think in the middle of nowhere, you're more likely to find someplace. If you're in a city, good luck. It's harder when you're in a bigger city because it tends to be more spread out.
I think it's easier
weirdly
in a bigger
enough,
city.
it's not. You'll be surprised. In New York City, you will find these spaces, but they tend to be people who go there all the time, and they will welcome you, but they're very weird about it. So be prepared to be uncomfortable. That's what I'm saying.
I suppose I'm in the Midwest. I'm in the Midwest where, you know, a lot of these gaming things originated. So we've got them every little suburban town has their own gaming shop that's, you know, filled with people. So I guess it might be different out where you're at.
Like in New York, like there's a place in Brooklyn called Sip and Play where I love the place. Like you have food and alcohol and drinks and board games and
welcome on in. So thorny, by the way. Sorry, continue.
And Match the Gathering, and you can do D&D there if you want, whatever. But those people are going with their friends in April. So for you to walk in by yourself, it takes courage. You're gonna take a lot of courage to walk in by yourself and go, "Hey, can I join your group?" It's gonna be hard. I will say that streaming is hard. Walking in on games is hard. Doing this is hard. It's not easy. It's gonna take a lot of courage.
But fun and worth it.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Hey, that's the end of the timer. That is the end of our timer.
I love that.
Thanks.
That's so sweet. I love that. So cute.
I got all kinds of little tricks up my sleeve. All kinds of little things.
That's adorable. I love it.
I love it too. That's why it's on here.
See, I would do stuff like that, but like my OBS hates me. Like,
oh no,
I am convinced OBS is sentient. It's sentient. No one can tell me otherwise. And
I mean, they can tell you, but you wouldn't believe that.
I don't believe you. It's like I have a friend who believes like electricity is just magic in the wall. He doesn't. I mean, he explained like lights to him, but he's like, I understand that it's actual mechanic. I understand like it's a thing. It's still magic in the wall.
I mean, electricity. Why would it? I can't imagine why it wouldn't be. Couldn't be considered magic. Let's be honest. Because what is it? Is it a physical, actual thing? Lightning comes down from the sky, right? Picture lightning, right? What is that?
Right.
It is a thing. You can visually see it, but it's not physical.
It's not physical.
It's not gaseous, right?
It's magic in the wall.
It's not gaseous, it's not physical, it's not liquid. Okay, it's magic, for crying out loud.
He's like, I am a magician because I can flick the switch. There's no rhyme or reason to why this should turn off or on. It's magic.
Do you
I'm like,
believe in magic?
I'm like, okay, I believe you, whatever you say. But I can't say anything because I believe OBS is sentient. So there's that. OBS hates me. It's fine.
Sometimes I wonder.
Stop
changing my microphone, OBS.
Exactly. It changes your microphone. It decides like, oh, you want to see your guest? No, you're not going to see your guest today. Like, oh, you want actual sound? Maybe. But at low levels.
You're not the only one. There are a few people that we have in this community that agree that that's like OBS just, or any platform that they use for the streaming,
it's a sentient being. It's an absolute sentient being.
And I know a handful of people, I'll be like, hey, your volume's doing this again. They're like, how did I, whatever.
You haven't done anything. I literally have my sound up. Literally monitoring it right now because I don't trust it not to turn itself down.
Yeah. But then it turns itself down anyway.
It turns it back up. Yeah, it's perfectly fine. I'm totally fine with it. So, yeah.
So, intersectionality is an amazing topic. Do you want to explain it, or would you like me to explain it?
I think you should explain it since I found out that you went to college.
So imagine a Venn diagram. Do you guys all know what a Venn diagram is? It's all the little circles that overlap each other.
Overlap, yes.
So picture a community, right? So or a culture. I'm going to say a culture, because a culture is any group of people that have one thing in common, right? So a culture can be religion, a culture can be race, a culture can be gender, a culture can be what you're attracted to, a culture can be tabletop role playing, can be a culture. Yes. An entire gaming community can be a culture. It's an entire cultural phenomenon. And so when you take multiple cultures that you fit into, and they all kind of overlap, you're kind of that center thing, right?
Right.
So now try and do that and try and find where you belong in that thing, right? Is that how you read it?
That's exactly it. And it can be, so for traditionally, obviously, Dungeons and Dragons TTRPG has been a cis white man game. That's who created it. That's what it started as. That's just the facts. But over time, as people started to get into gaming, the space started to open up. Did they open up without contention?
Right.
Did they open up easily? No. But they started to open up. But what we're finding now is that even though they did open up, they still remain not very diverse. And now that people are trying to make TTRPG specifically, but all gaming, more diverse and more intersectional, more inclusive, you are finding some pushback here and there. And it's understandable. When something new starts to happen, people are not comfortable. Humans don't like being uncomfortable. It's just human nature. I'm uncomfortable. I don't like it. Make it go away. That's usually what ends up happening. So intersectionality is becoming a little bit of a hotbed topic in the gaming community specifically.
I've said this on your show. By the way, guys, go check out Classic Sam. I was guest over there. But I said this on your show. I say this here all the time, but I will never not say it when the topic comes up. Role-playing was funded by nerds who are ostracized from people. People are like, you're a nerd. You just do nerd stuff, geek stuff, role-playing. You're a theater kid, that kind of stuff.
Yes, exactly.
They were built and founded on accepting people because they were being bullied. So how dare anybody from the TTRPG community tell anyone else they don't belong? Right. Period. End of subject. End of story. All right, getting off my podium now.
That goes with not only TTRPG, but cosplay, video games, all of them. It doesn't make any sense. Because you have to be a little bit of a weirdo. to dress up as a cartoon character. That's just the way it is. So for you to tell me that I can't do it because I'm a girl or I'm a Black woman or I'm disabled or I'm gay, that's ridiculous. It's absolutely, for you as the person, like the main of the group, to say that is weird because it's founded on you being marginalized yourself.
Right.
Because you're a nerd. That's weird.
That's the one culture. Nerd. Circle. Everybody who is a nerd is included. Period. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
So like you being like, difficult about it or having like this toxicity about it is bizarre to me. And I don't find it overtly a lot in the community. I don't. However, covertly, it is still there. And it comes in little things along the lines of, I don't know, how do I put this? It comes along the lines of like, you give an idea or you want to be at a table. It's like, well, the table's full. And then you find out the table's not full.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Something along those lines. So there's stuff like that usually tends to happen.
Roddy Mama coming in with the gift sub to Classic Sam.
Yeah, thank you.
Look at that.
And it's so sweet. That's a dope. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Roddy Mama.
Roddy Mama, amazing VR streamer. A whole nother community too. VR streaming.
Yeah, this is VR streaming.
VR gaming, VR streaming.
Dude, first of all, tech, and then VR streaming, more tech. My brain, I would lose my mind. Okay, I commend you if you do that because that is some really hard thing to do because so much technology, and as much as I love tech, I love technology, I still believe these things are sentient and that they are out to get me.
Especially that damn OBS.
Especially OBS. That's why OBS is off right now.
Then you have to do OBS and the VR at the same time.
Oh my God! And then they would talk to each other. Oh, that'd be so bad.
By the way, I didn't even start the timer on this one apparently, so we're gonna go we'll go a little long on the.
No, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine.
It's okay. We'll get off topic, and I'll just let it run when we go off topic. That's okay.
That's perfectly fine. Oh my God, that's so cool! Thank you for the sub.
So thank you, Roddy Mama. I appreciate you. Hopefully you're doing well.
But diversity in of itself, in any sphere, is contentious. It just is. People tend to group themselves. I remember a story I heard about Planet of the Apes where when the actors were in character and they noticed that when they were in character and in makeup that the orangutan group would segregate themselves together and the chimpanzee group it was they and the humans, the people who were playing the actual humans who didn't have that kind of makeup, like, this is weird. Like, why is everyone saying, like, we all know each other, but that's what ended up happening. So diversity in of itself is contentious. So
there was a movie that they did that, another movie. It was like a military movie, and I was just watching it where they took all of the grunts basically of the thing, and they filmed a lot of their stuff first, so they got this cohesive thing, and then they brought in this other actor that they were all friends with, but that actor, their character was higher rank, and then they filmed that where he was telling all his higher rank stuff, and they like literally made him.
Oh, that's so awesome!
Roddy Mama coming in, continuing their gifts up from Bid You. Thank you, Roddy Mama, for that. Roddy Mama didn't. I remember when Bid You gifted that. She's like, "What? My sub didn't do the thing. Damn it!" She was all upset.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Roddy Mama. I appreciate you. But yeah, so like that person came in and they said that it was really weird because while they were filming, they didn't like him, their friend, because his character had like, basically had rule over them because he was basically their senior, their sergeant or whatever.
Right.
And it was really weird. Well, then they brought in another higher official that came in, and they became friends with their senior again, because now there was even somebody else, and it was like,
Right.
it was this cool
Yes.
article that they talked about. They said it was really weird, and then they're like, yeah, somebody should study
It's
that.
human. It's absolutely just human nature. It's human nature, and the want to be among something that is like you. So when you start a community that has been traditionally cis heterosexual white male, and then you decide to bring in Black people, Asian people, people with disabilities, LGBTQIA plus people, what you end up finding is that you get this weird, I don't want to say actual racism, but like an uncomfortability, like it's a pushback. Like yes, you do have that small group, and they are a small group of vehemently vicious, disgusting people. Like you have that group. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people who, for the most part, are good people, but because it's not something they're accustomed to,
Yeah.
they become uncomfortable. That uncomfortability makes for a lack of diversity.
Yeah. And I think too, a part of it is, like you said, being uncomfortable. Part of the being uncomfortable is like, they're good people. They don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. They don't want to accidentally say something off.
Yes.
I know I do it all the time. Anytime I have anybody on, I'm like, okay, I'm going to say this. And then I'm like, am I saying something? Am I putting the term right? Am I being politically correct? Am I phrasing, whatever it is away? Cause I'm like, accidents happen. And so when you're in a group and then you've got like 3 or 4 people in there and you're focusing on everything, it becomes a lot of work because somebody's not used to it. Not that they don't need to do the work, is do the goddamn work, people. But it becomes any group, any culture, whatever it is, when you've got multiple other groups in the group. Depending on how big the change is, it's challenging to not offend somebody or not say something off or bug somebody and make yourself look like an idiot, right?
And that's the thing, is like, and I think because people are trying so hard not to offend, they are making themselves more uncomfortable, and which can lead to offense. So it's like this weird vicious circle. So my advice has always been, just relax. Yes, obviously, be mindful of your speech. But if you slip, that's fine. Like I know as a person, and I know as someone who's sitting next to you, that it wasn't something that you did on purpose.
Right.
But also, if it does happen and you have someone like corrects you, that's the only thing I can think of saying, but don't take it personally. Just take the correction back and move on.
Yeah.
So I think that people need to learn that intersectionality comes with intention. You have to be intentional. So that means I intentionally bringing people into the space. Who are you going to be genuine with? But also intentionally knowing that if something happens, I'm going to trying to understand what happened, fix it, and then move past it and move on to build a better friendship. So I think that's part of what intersectionality means to do. And it's super hard to do. It's definitely hard work. I'm not gonna say it's not hard work. It's definitely hard work. But yeah. So, but you need to be intentional about what you're doing.
So what circles, we're talking intersectionality, what are some circles that you are in that we might not know?
So we said earlier, like, being a nerd is something that's shouldn't be like everyone's like you have to be a nerd to do this. But there's something, and I've done it I've said it a couple times on my stream. It's called blurred, it's Black nerds. And it's specifically because we label ourselves that way because within our own community, it's even less accepted. Like it's so much less expected, almost to a point of exclusion within your own community. So you will see a Black child, and I can only speak from my experience, but who is into Dungeons and Dragons or into not necessarily video games. Video games is kind of mainstream, but board games or cosplay, and that's instantly thought of as weird demonic if you're in a religious household.
Yeah, wow.
Oh, that's one of the bigger ones. Or if you're part of the I'm not African American, but from the West Indian community, Caribbean community, it's thought of as not Black. Like that's not something we do. So when you have a child or a teenager who is totally into Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that, there's an extra exclusion. So they tend to be even more ostracized. So a lot of times they're very, very much alone. And it's very, very hard to navigate. So what ended up happening was when they did find each other, or we found each other, we became blurs, like, oh, I'm a Black nerd. And like, oh, that's cool. So there is a thing called BlurCon,
Okay.
It's huge. It's absolutely massive. I think it rivals DragonCon a little bit, but BlurCon is huge. And it happens in, I want to say Atlanta.
Okay.
I think it's in Atlanta this year. But stuff like that happens. So those are one of the communities people are like, this is a thing. And some unique things happen.
Well, because people that aren't part of those communities, they don't know what will get you ostracized from a community, right?
Right, exactly. They have no idea.
Because that's a whole culture. Like I couldn't tell you what that culture is because I'm not part of it, so I wouldn't know. Other than you telling me, right?
Right, exactly. People are like, there's something called BlurCon, and oddly enough, it's not exclusionary. Anyone and everyone can come. Like you will find Latinos, white people, Asian people, all at BlurCon. But the focus is on the fact that this is not common in the Black community. It's just not. Collecting dolls, weirdo. Collecting miniatures, like miniature dragons, you're a weirdo. So
haunted dolls, it's
exactly. I have a haunted Elmo. I have a Tickle Me Elmo that's never been opened, and should probably, I've had it since it's in it came out. It should not work. And occasionally that thing will giggle for no reason.
That's creepy. Hello, Book. Welcome on in.
Usually around 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, you'll hear it giggling. It's not fun. But I keep it. It's weird, So, but yeah, you'll find that it's just very weird, but it feels like, in order to make a substantial step into a diverse space, there needs to be a cohesive approach. And I think that's why places like BlurCon saying this is just not for the Black community. It's just come, please, come and hang out with us. Come see how we put our spin on things. Come see how we do things here. Come see how we play tabletop RPGs. Come see the stories we pull from. Come see the homebrews we pull from. I don't know. Come see the cosplays that we love to play. Come see them. That's how you become intentionally intersectional.
Okay. Well, Mohammed, thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Oh my God, that was so sweet. Thank you.
Thank you. And hello, Mr. Beetlejuice. Welcome on in as well.
Oh, and
yeah, it's the topic of just different types of cultures and how they all interact, and again, the interaction between groups going back to the previous topic. That is so. It's always fascinating to me. Those are always things I love people watching. I love seeing how people interact and how communities grow. And I always like to hear about certain communities and how they have their own things that they do and how they act uniquely, whether it's the LGBTQIA community, whether it's, different racial communities, whether it's religious communities and how they do things. It's always fascinating to see how they interact with one another and what things you don't really realize are in can make you included or be excluded from those communities. So yeah, it's really interesting.
It's actually it's very interesting because I think that when you include people, that's the reason why I started the talk shows, because I just wanted, like, I need everyone to talk to you. Like, talk to me and I'll talk to everybody else, or like when you came on, I was like, oh my God, yes. He's so happy about that. It was so much fun, having different people on, and so that people in my community, as it grows, can see, yes, this person's different from me, but they understand what they're doing here. They know what they're talking about. They know what they're talking about when it comes to D&D. They know what they're talking about when it comes to podcasting. Oh, they know what they're talking about when it comes to board games or whatever the case may be. And they're actually not that much different from me. So
Right.
I'm gonna go check out this person's stream. That's the whole point of chatting with. That's the name of it. Oh crap! I just named the show book. So I have not named this show yet.
Right.
Until this very moment.
Just now.
Just now.
I'm gonna clip that.
So chatting with this. Okay, there it is. That's the name of the show. So stop laughing at me. So yeah, that's the whole point of it. It's just so that every time someone comes to the show, whether it's someone that who's super popular that you may know, or someone who is popular on a different social media platform, that their knowledge and their enthusiasm for the community is the same as yours. So go follow them.
Yeah, those communities are amazing, all of them. And I always say this: rising tides raise all ships, right?
Exactly.
I thought it was great. Mindari last night.
Yeah, she said the same.
She said that thing. I was like, yes, I did not steal that from her. I said it on your stream first.
Exactly. Rising tides raises all ships. And the other thing about that is that it's always so strange. Like, if you're only watching one perspective, the story gets boring.
Yeah, and you don't grow as a person either.
Yeah, you don't grow as a person. So, and when I say the story, I don't just mean TTRPG. I mean your story. Your story. If you're chapter after chapter, it's the same person, your life and your story is going to be boring. So, in order for the next chapter to be like really cool and epic and awesome and something cool to like live through, you need to find a new thing to expose yourself to. And and that comes from following different things, learning different things, doing things that make you uncomfortable. Like, apparently, improv classes book. He encouraged me to do one. I was terrified. I'm never going back to that company. I'm gonna do another class somewhere else.
Somewhere else.
When you do something, you're like, oh my God, that was so embarrassing. I'm never looking at these people ever again. I'm never coming back here.
But on the bright side, you can stop being embarrassed about it because they will never see you again. They might think whatever happened to that person, but you won't ever see them again.
You will never see me again. It was so much fun, but I was like, never again. Hell no. New place. Now I know how to do this. Okay, very good.
What were you? Well, maybe here. Let me write that down.
Yeah,
improv topic. There we go.
Boy. Oh boy.
That's
okay.
There we go.
I'm nervous. Oh my God.
That's okay. If it makes you feel any better, my mouth still hurts from those spicy chips. So
that actually makes me feel a little bit. Oh, well, guess what? If you give him gift subs and it gets a hype train going, which should probably not be for another few minutes, he has to eat spicy chips like ghost pepper chips. It's awesome.
Yeah, we don't need to advertise that I eat spicy ghost pepper chips during hype train. We just don't need to trigger one of those.
I love it. I think it's the best thing ever. Like, it's a hype train, spicy chips. Ooh, I'm not doing that though.
Yeah, you're totally. Why not? Why not?
If you do a hype train in my channel, I cry. Like, I'm not joking. It happens so rarely that when it does happen, I have to like make myself like not burst into tears.
Here we go, everybody. We'll go in there next time around. Get Classic Sam to cry.
Thank you so much. That's usually what ends up happening, I'm like, I do this with it. Thank you.
So I asked you earlier about like, what are some of your circles, your intersectionality circles?
So for me, it has been, weirdly enough, Twitch. It's very strange. And oddly enough, New Zealand. So 62% of my following is from New Zealand. Don't ask me why.
People following you.
Yes, people following me are from New Zealand. And that's also on for some strange reason on Twitch and on Twitch and on TikTok. For some reason, it's New Zealand.
I can answer that question for you. I can answer
why.
that.
Sure.
Hamish.
True.
Robert Hartley.
Yeah, true.
There's just two right there, and that probably alone is a good book. Yeah, book. There's a lot of people, and that's just the ones that I know. There might be more that I don't know.
But that's the thing. Those are the only three I know. Everyone, Dag is from Australia. Dreaded GM is from Australia. You know, they're only like 2% of my stream.
Right,
So,
but not just that. But when you have them on, their followers follow them and follow you.
oh, okay. That makes sense. And you're right. You're right. So that's one of them. Then the other one, like John and Abby and me, and shut up. So, okay, chat. If I'm like being like slightly abusive to book, it's because that's one of my best friends. And yeah, shut up. So the other,
Book, we love you. We love you.
I totally adore him.
I will never tell you to shut up, Bucky.
I adore Michael C. It's like I know, like so cool. Like got me through a lot of stuff. Yes, like so sweet. Oh my god, don't. Okay. Anyway, so but the other intersectional thing about for me is the medical group, because medicine is something that has been part of my life for over 20 years, and most of the time, for some reason, they're also a bunch of nerds who like Dungeons and Dragons and TTRPG and board games, specifically board games, video games. That's something that happens a lot in EMS stations in New York, like board games and video games and stuff like that. So that's another group that people are like, how is that possible? For some reason, I guess because we're a bunch of nerds that like medicine.
Yeah.
I love that sound.
Hey.
I love that sound.
Thanks.
Such a cool sound. I think that's so cool.
If I were to talk about me, I would be Renaissance Festival. I can do this based off of my private Facebook page, my groups of friends.
Yes.
I have my personal friends that I grew up with, right?
Yes.
Renaissance Festival. I worked at multiple Renaissance festivals. I know lots of people from Renaissance Festival communities. Professional wrestling. I did it for 5 to 7 years.
That when you told me that just, and until now, bugs me out, because I cannot understand how do you go from Renaissance.
It's actually the other way around.
Really?
Yeah.
It's still.
So, okay. People in the chat, some of the people in the chat who know me might know the story. So I grew up, I had a difficult upbringing. I moved around from school to school to school pretty much every year, sometimes 3 times a year. I was in a new school.
Oh, wow.
I was the new kid.
Oh, I hate that.
My stepdad was not the greatest. He was an alcoholic. I didn't really have any male role models. I had one thing that really I was able to like leave the world and watch, and that was wrestling. Started back in the 80s. It was Andre versus Hulk Hogan. That was the era that I started all the way through, and it just always had me. High school rolled around. I was like, I'm going to move to Texas. I'm going to join this wrestling school. That's what I'm going to do. I couldn't afford that. My grandma, who lived down there, she moved up, and I was just randomly at a local wrestling show. It wasn't local. It was held locally, but it was one of the big 3. ECW came in, and we were sitting there, and there was a match with this big cowboy dude. It was in the ring, and he was beating up. I don't remember who it was, and I was entertained as hell. And the guy, my friend that I was with, is like, "Oh, that's Wild Bill Irwin. He lives here in Duluth." Wait, what? What? And then like 2-3 weeks later, he was on the radio doing some sort of promotion for something, and he was running a wrestling school. So I signed up.
What is happening? Like, how is this? This is what I mean. Like, I love streamers because they're also nerds. You have to be a nerd to do this. I don't care what anyone says. But also, the stories are so bizarre. Our stories are so weird.
Right? Everybody's got cool
Like, what
stuff.
is going on?
And
Like,
we don't
what?
believe our own stories are weird, right?
Like, I totally don't believe it. Like, I'm like, my story, I don't think my story is weird as well. Like, I grew up in Brooklyn, went to a Catholic parochial school, severely bullied because geek, you know, and then went to college, decided that yay, party was a great thing. Did some questionable things.
Haven't we all? Haven't we all?
Oh, 100% true. Questionable things, including like can't figuring out how to end up in Texas one night from New York. I mean, from New Hampshire. Anyway, don't understand how that happened. And you know, coming back to New York and then becoming a paramedic, you know, New York City paramedics, like weird shit. Those things don't go together.
Right.
You know, but that's so cool. Like I just love the stories. They just go together, you know. I mean, look, I have different friends. My friend groups like TTRPG, but then I have the medical field. Then I have like my bougie restaurant girly hangout group. Like they're my girl group.
Which is another group, which is another circle.
Super cool circle. Then I have like, you know, the fish. I fish.
Yeah. See, we're in another circle together. I fish too.
I love fishing. Like I went the other night. Didn't catch anything. Yes.
I paint my own lures.
Oh, so you're like into it. I don't paint. I used to like make my own stuff.
Well, I sell them. So.
Oh, well, you have to then. Yeah, I don't have the time. I just don't have the time. Like,
me either. I'm so behind right now.
See, I don't want to add anything else. I feel like if I add something else, it would be bad, you know. So I don't want to. So yeah, absolutely not. But yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that I do like this. They kind of connect, but not really.
Right.
So.
And that's how intersectionality works, right? There's all these things,
exactly.
and you don't know what circles people belong in. So
and it's so cool because people like.
I love it.
I love it because people are kind of like, "You do what? You fish?" Like, yeah. Like I catch striped bass, like big ones. They make me happy. You know, that's what I.
Do you throw them back? Are you okay? Okay. We're totally doing the potluck here already. But are you a throw them back or are you a keep them?
It depends. So in New York City, there is a limit. There's a size limit. They have to be, and I can't remember what it is right now. I think it's over 40 inches. So if they're under, they go back. If they're
if you
over,
can keep them.
If I can't keep it, I'm keeping it. Okay. Like totally keep it because I'm eating it.
Amen. Amen to that.
Yeah, I'm eating it and keeping it. They're delicious.
I know people they catch them. They don't eat fish. They don't like fish. They just catch them to catch them, and that's like that's sacrilege.
Delicious. Striped bass is delicious. It's absolutely one of the most delicious things I've ever tasted. Like striped bass, and I know people don't like them, but blue fish is my other favorite because they give such a great fight. They fight like nothing else. Like they're one of the smaller fish that isn't a swordfish that fight to the they will fight, and nice. I love that. So
I hear if you jump in the water with them, piranhas give a good fight too.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, people that are watching, I have to explain something real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So I get mannerisms from things that I watch, people that I talk to. Are you listening to the stream?
I'm listening to you. Did you hear something? I don't hear it.
No. I'm going to. Oh, I could hear. Probably because it was coming out of your speakers and going through your microphone. I could hear me.
I see what happened. I see what happened.
I was like, what's going on? What is she doing?
I didn't do anything. And so I pulled back and the cord pulled out a little bit. So the speaker.
Oh, that's what happened. Okay.
That's what you heard.
Gotcha.
So now you should be able to.
Okay, so I pick up mannerisms from people that I'm around, people I'm doing with. I'm very changed. So people who watch this, like, you may have noticed that today my laugh has shifted and has been quite a bit different than it usually is. And here's the reason. I've been watching a lot of Jimmy Carr stand-up comedy lately, and I've caught myself 3 times now laughing just like him. I was like, son of a gun. So FYI, if you hear me laughing weird, it's because
you're a mimic.
I totally am. If I'm in a group of people and they, like, I don't normally swear, if I'm with a group of people that swear a lot, you will find me swearing a lot. Grim Birdie.
Hey, welcome.
Raid. Welcome on in, Raiders. How are you doing? What were you doing? What's going on? What brings you in?
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. Borderlands 3. I like that.
Look at this. What are we watching? Are we watching Elden Ring? Elden Ring.
Ooh.
Okay, God, smite the water more.
Yes, smite the water.
Fucking bastard.
I can't play Elden Ring. I can't do it. I refuse. I can't. I played it for a little bit, and I thought I was going to lose my mind.
I have opinions on it, but we won't get into them because
man, I thought I was going to fight someone. I wanted to, like,
yeah, you do. You fight everyone. Unless they're a vendor, you fight everyone.
Like, I wanted to, like, throw my computer screen out of the window. I was so frustrated. I'm like, I'm not playing this game anymore.
Oh, I stopped playing it because I got bored.
Really?
Yeah.
I
was like, oh, look, I'm fighting another guy. Oh, look, I'm fighting another guy. Oh, look, I'm fighting another guy. Can I come across, like, some speech to talk? Can I interact with an NPC or some? Nope, gotta fight another guy. Can we get some what's going on in the game? Why is all this? Can I get some story here? Like, oh, look, I'm fighting another guy. All right, well, it's been 5 weeks. I guess that's all I'm gonna do. I'm done.
Yeah, I think I fought, like, I maybe played like an hour and a half. I was so angry. Like, I was just so mad. I'm like, why is he killing me all the time?
You were playing Baldur's Gate 3 tonight. See, now there's a game I really enjoyed. Yes. I love Baldur's Gate 3. It was a little more difficult to do on stream because for me, streaming Baldur's Gate, because there's a lot of combat in there as well. Yes, so I would play Baldur's Gate, but for a stream, for me, it's like, okay, well, now it's just turn-based combat. Is that fun for the viewers to just watch me do turn-based combat for 2 hours? So I didn't have a lot of time to play off stream, so it was I did play some off stream, but yeah, that was I didn't actually end up finishing because I only got so much time in my streaming day. But yeah,
I mean, it I will say this, it's very popular stream. Like, people who stream it, they usually get numbers, and I commend them for doing it. I like Baldur's Gate for the game itself. I don't like Baldur's Gate because it tricks people into thinking that's how D&D works, and that's not how D&D works.
But there are some things in Baldur's Gate that should be how it works, right?
Yes. There's some things I would like, this would be cool if it actually worked in D&D. But the entirety of the game, I love that it brought people into Dungeons and Dragons and to discovering TTRPGs. I don't like that the times where I've run games now, people have been like, I have to explain, this is not Baldur's Gate. I've had to sit down and have this conversation of that's not how this works. Like, I love your enthusiasm. We're gonna get through this whole session 0. And like, get through the first, session, but babe, that's not this.
If you need help at BL3, I have a bunch of level 72 characters and can help you through the story. Baldur's Gate can get fun for stream if you give chat control of the NPCs. Yeah, I thought about doing that, and also you could give them control of, like, your decisions.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I never thought about that.
I got to the point where I was debating. But then a bunch of other games that I really wanted to play came out. I was debating just dropping it down to easy mode so I could just burn through the combat. Burn through the combat and do the story, play the main story. So that was my next option, just so I could burn through the combat and enjoy the story and enjoy the ride and make the fun decisions. So
I think I did it in normal mode, and I did the whole entire thing on stream. People seem to love it. It was fun, and
it's a great game. It's
a great game. It's so much fun to play.
I played the originals when they came out.
Yes,
so I played Baldur's Gate 2. Yes, I played the expansions, and I spent
early access.
hours playing those.
Yeah, so I get it. It's a lot of fun, but I've definitely had to have conversations with people, coming from that to D&D, like, no, babe, like that. No, that's not how Mage Hand works. It works better here. So,
Yes, for sure. Awesome. Well, guys, we are halfway through the show. For those of you who came in with raids, we started off the day talking about navigating niche spaces, doing it by yourself, trying to find your way into things like gaming, streaming, RPGs, anything really that's a niche space, trying to find your way and how you find your way and how you get to that. So yeah, we talked about that. Then we went into intersectionality, finding yours, and that's all the different cultures that one person can fit into, whether it's being a nerd or liking fishing and being a person who does fishing, race, gender, any of that kind of stuff. Those are all different like little circles in the Venn diagram that is you, and we talked about that and finding where you fit in that. So those were our topics so far. We've still got to come the new D&D 2024 RPG and what that means for gaming in general. And we're going to talk a little bit about that coming up here after the break. And of course, we're going to do the potluck, which is what we've been doing for the last 10 minutes. It's just whatever we talk about is whatever we talk about. So stick around for that. We will be back in about 5-10 minutes. So please stay here for the chat, for the conversation. We will be back, like I said, 5-10 minutes. Stick around. I'm also going to run an ad, so we don't have to worry about that. So we will see you guys in just a few minutes. Stay tuned.
I've run the Pell RPG twice for World Builders at Emerald City Comic Con.
Okay.
At their kind of big party where you contribute to charity and you get to come in and play games. And if you're at my table, you usually get free cake because my friend Adam Mercunius always brings us some nice gluten-free cake. Nice. But yeah, this is my spellbinder that contains the Pell RPG that I have written. But it's different than other RPG games because instead of like heavily dice rolling and math, it's all about, the gods of Pellinus is the Pell god. It's a two-headed god like Janus, which is me and Kevin. Right. And they just want to be entertained. They don't really care if you're good or bad. They're going to be entertained. So it's like, it's not necessarily that you roll the dice. It's that you close your eyes and you stab this with your pencil. And then the gods interpret whatever you land on. Oh no's or the skull usually doesn't go well.
What is it that makes dialogue something that seems to come natural to you as opposed to other forms of writing?
Yeah, that's an interesting question because I do love dialogue and I feel like dialogue is my greatest strength. I was able to recently write a short story that was entirely dialogue, which has always been a goal of mine. And it was amazing because I don't like description. I work very, very hard at description. I add more and more in every single draft. But for me, dialogue is what comes the most natural and the easiest. And I think it's because you'll hear a lot of authors talk about how they see their books playing out like movies, and they're describing what they're seeing. I'm not a visual person. My books are words. That's all they are. Mm-hmm. Like if you ask me to describe my characters, I can tell you what descriptors I use in the book, but I don't see them in my head. I don't see any of it in my head. It's entirely words.
Well, there's got to be more to it. But for years, I mean, I've listened to people's stories and encounters, and a lot of them don't make sense to me. But it's not my job to judge. I really just want to kind of be the sounding board for you who's having this experience to feel like you have a safe haven, a place to talk without being judged. And then there have been shows where at the end, I think that was complete rubbish, total nonsense. And then I start getting emails from around the world of people going, I listened to that show and it really impacted me because I've had that experience the exact same way. And I thought I was going insane. I was suicidal. I I got on drugs and alcohol because of that. Now I know I'm not alone. So I've come to the conclusion that as absurd as things sometimes sound, they're impactful to others, and it's not worth just dismissing summarily because it doesn't make sense to my paradigm.
Run story. I got to write Sparrowhawk for them. And then I got an email from IDW, from a great editor named Denton Tipton, who was in charge of Star Wars Adventures at the time. I was the only person who had read The Last Jedi script because I had to read it to write Phasma. And he was like, hey, as one of the only female comic writers on the entire world who knows who Rose Tico is, could you write us a comic? And I was like, yes, I could. Thank you.
Nice.
So that was my aim with IDW, was that I was the only female comic writer who had ever read the script, and no one else was allowed to read it. So I got to write those comics, which
we'll put it into mass release soon. We're basically done with the fulfillment on the Kickstarter, but we're just making sure about everything that we have for that. But yeah, the Underworld will be the first new expansion for Lords of Vegas in 7 years.
Wow.
And that'll be great. And then we just got into it. We've now written about I think we've written 5 new expansions for the game in the last few months. Since I last saw you, and I was like, yep, let's play. And it was super fun. It takes 2 minutes to play, maybe like 2 to 3 minutes to play. It's high stakes. You get some grills, and you're just trying to make the best sausages you can. Sausages have ideal lengths. You try to get them into the buns. There's no double entendres whatsoever.
No,
And
none.
so
I'm here for it.
yes. It is one of the more fun games I've ever made. It's stupid as heck, but it's really, really fun. And if anybody wants a copy, we put it and all of our other stuff on sale recently, which will last not too terribly long. So if you want a copy for not so many dollars, jump on our website at shop.loansharkgames.com and you can have your own sausage party in your own house.
Nice.
Outland Entertainment. They have done other comics for us in the past, and we are working with them to publish some of the stuff, some of our fiction, as well as some of the comics, and both a Weird West comic and a comic for Deadlands Dark Age.
We're talking about the Batman. And we are back from break. Thank you, everybody, for sticking around. I appreciate y'all being here, hanging out during that break, dealing with the ads and everything else. Or anybody who is subbed that didn't have to deal with the ads, they could just watch some of the clips and kind of get an idea of some of the other stuff that I do on here, some of the other interviews and people that I chat with as well. Of course, we guys also do video games here. Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays is usually our normal video game days. This week is a little bit off because we're supposed to be going on a camping trip, but the wife came down with COVID, so we don't really know what's going to happen this week with our camping trip. So we've got a cabin. A group of friends all get together and go to a cabin. So far, I am testing negative. We're hoping that she tests negative. At least she tested positive this morning. We were hoping she tests negative today, and then I'd have 3 days to test negative, and then we could go. But now it might just be 2 days, and we might just show up a day later than we originally planned. So, but otherwise, yeah, usually Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays is video game days. Monday is our talk show day, where we either have this show off the pod, or we have our on the pod, our actual podcast, where we interview authors, game designers, television personalities, actors, voice actors, etc., etc., etc. So definitely stick around and find out. If you haven't given a follow yet, please do so. If you haven't given Classic Sam a follow yet, please do so. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it.
Do it.
I just new announcement. I haven't told anyone yet because today, so you know the original Batman movie with Michael Keaton?
Yes.
Well, Random House is publishing a book that is like an official, like an aftermath to the Keaton-verse Batman series, and it's a novel set in that universe. They got the full license, so I got the author for that new movie coming on. Yeah, his name is John Jackson Miller is the name of the author, so he's going to be coming on and joining us for the podcast.
Okay, so just so you guys know, Nick does great. He has great guests. Okay, I am slightly envious of the guests that he has. I'm like, how?
I'm very fortunate to have built a
Yes,
nice
you have.
portfolio to start, and then to get to the point where some of the publishing companies just reach me directly.
That's so cool.
So
I think
yeah,
that's
I get
amazing.
at least 3 or 4 publishing companies a week that message me, "Hey, we got this person coming out with a book. Might you be interested?" It's like, yes.
That's
Not
so
really right
good.
now. So right now my calendar is full all the way through to December. So
Oh, okay. Well,
I
shut
don't
up.
know how you managed to get Classic Sam. Well, here's the thing. I had to put in some extra work ahead of time on that to get her on the show. It was difficult. It was very, very difficult. Definitely the hardest get I had for this show book was Classic Sam. And you know, on my list, one of these days I'll get this amazing artist I know. I don't know, Sam. I don't know if you've ever heard of this guy, but there's this artist that I know of that's supposed to be. He's really cool. He's fun to listen to.
Yeah.
He also streams, and one of these days maybe I'll reach
from
out.
New Zealand?
I'm just
He's from New
afraid.
Zealand,
Yeah,
right?
he's in New Zealand, and
Yeah,
I just
yeah,
have this
yeah.
feeling like I don't know. He
does some really good artwork. Like he's done a couple of my overlays, I think. He's done a bunch of my emotes. So cool. But it's super hard. It's very, very hard to get him on.
so maybe
yeah.
I don't know. I'm a little shy. I'm a little too shy to talk to this guy because he's so freaking awesome.
And so I mean, I could probably try to get a good word in for you.
Yeah,
but,
you can get a good word in for me. So many of the
see what
people I
happens.
know use his art. So
He sounds handsome.
he sounds handsome.
I cannot. This is why he's my friend. This is why he's my friend.
And he's got a great taste in hats.
He does. He has some really cool taste in hats. It's always funny because, like, every once in a while, he'll take it off. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, and I always forget how tall Book is. Like in my mind, because he's always sitting down. In my mind, he's not that much taller than me, but he's freaking huge.
I've had that at Gen Con.
Yeah.
Funny enough. At Gen Con, I had that. I was do you know the author Eric Scott DeBee?
It sounds
Do you know of the author? So he did a bunch of the Waterdeep books.
Okay, yes. Okay, there it is.
And he so he's tall, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I didn't realize how to, because I'm 6'1", right? So I'm not a short. I'm not a short person, right?
Okay.
So I'm sitting there at Gen Con, and Eric's one of my oldest friends in the industry. Like I've known him probably for 10 plus years. And so I'm walking around Gen Con and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to head to one of these author things, and just kind of, I brought my notebook and I just wanted to see the lines because it was like an autograph signing, a meet and greet sort of thing. Ba-da-da. There we go. Book Ruffle Cartoon getting a gift sent from the Roddy
That is
Mama.
awesome.
Maybe
Thank
that will
you.
help. Maybe that will help.
Yo, yeah.
Miso Thorny getting 2 stickers. I have it written down, Miso. I've been busy, Miso. You can get your own sticker for Octenticon, which is the big event we had. These are limited edition, so if you didn't go to the event and get them, this was at the Pop Culture Con for charity for children's cancer. So we did a big streamer convention get together there. So we
which cons are you going to for the rest of the year?
None. I've got no
Really?
cons. Yeah, no cons for the rest of the year.
Oh,
because they cost money.
They do cost money.
They do cost
That's
money. I
fucking
do want to go to
fortune.
Game Hole Con.
Yeah.
That one I might be able to squeeze in, except for the fact
can't.
that we're in Washington for a wedding, so
Yeah.
I won't be able to do Game Hole Con.
I can't do Game Hole Con because I am doing PAX Australia, New York Comic Con, which is the same time as Game Hole Con, and then I'm doing PAX Evening. So.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah,
Roddy
I can't
Mama
do
says
it.
she's going to get some Octenticon shot glasses to go with these stickers. Okay. Yeah, give them to me. Get them to me.
TwitchCon, baby.
TwitchCon.
TwitchCon next year.
Yeah,
plan
I
on
want to
doing
go next
TwitchCon
year. I
next
wanted
year.
to go this year, but again,
Yeah.
there's too
it's
many
just-
cons that I need to go
There's
to.
too many. Yeah. I have to go to a bunch of them. Like, this is the first year where I'm like actually traveling for cons now. Before I would just kind of keep it local, like Brooklyn Comic Con, New York Comic Con, keep it local. And now I was like, okay, I have to go to all the cons now. Like you have to. So that's just part of it.
Yeah.
Which is fun. Look, I had a blast. I had a blast at Gen Con. I stayed with a bunch of really cool people. I stayed with Jenny GM. I had a bunch of very, very cool people and an amazing Airbnb. Nerdwitch was there. I had a blast. It was such a fun time. Please don't eat the fan. My cat.
Yeah, cat. Don't eat the fan. Don't eat the fan.
Yeah.
Cats will eat anything, won't they? They'll eat anything.
Either they won't eat
If
all,
you what's that?
Either they won't eat at all because they're super picky, or they're like this fat ass over here who eats everything.
Just
So
know
she
if you
steals
have
food.
cats if you have cats and you die in the house, they'll be fine for at least a month.
I said exactly because they will eat you. 100% will eat you, and they do not care. Yes, I'm talking about you. So, but yeah. So no, I'm going to a bunch of cons, and then next year I'm planning for next year. So as I'm doing this, so we'll see what happens. But we're gonna take a big break after PAX soon.
All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. Our next topic, guys, is right here below me. You can see it right there. D&D 2024, what it means for gaming. Classic Sam's got the book right there, an advanced copy of it sitting right there to reference, because as you stated earlier, what kind of GM would you be if you didn't have it right there to reference it?
Always. I don't care what anyone says. I mean this from the bottom of my heart. And I've seen it. I've been to live. I've been to actual plays. Like that's been like on stage. I've been to. Even if they have them on their phone, they have a reference. They have to. They have to have a reference. There's no way in this God's green earth that you know every rule and every TTRPG. That's not gonna happen.
Yeah,
it's not gonna happen.
So D&D years ago, and to give people reference that don't play D&D, that don't role play, Dungeons and Dragons came out with their thing. It was RPG, and it kind of bloomed. It was a small little niche thing in the upper Midwest, and then there were other companies that kind of caught on, and they're like, we want to jump on that bandwagon. We want to do something similar, but this is a fantasy, medieval fantasy type game. Let's make one that's, set in the future. Let's make one that's set in Star Wars. Let's make one that's a horror. Let's make one that's superheroes. And it's kind of grown to the point where there are so many tabletop role-playing games now. But when people that aren't part of that niche group, going back to niche groups, there's tabletop role-playing in general, but everybody that's outside of that group, they're like, that's D&D. Oh, they're playing D&D. No, I'm playing Call of Cthulhu. This is Call of Cthulhu, right?
Yeah, what do you mean?
Yeah, no, I'm playing Call of Cthulhu. Yeah, you're playing D&D. No, that's not.
Shadowrun.
Shadowrun, yeah.
No, it's not the same thing.
So and that's not. We're not taking offense to that. We're just, to people that are in the group, there is a very big difference between D&D and the it's like Kleenex, right? Every tissue is a Kleenex, but it's not. Only brand name Kleenex is a Kleenex.
It's Kleenex, exactly.
Exactly. So yes, role playing, D&D is a role playing game. There are other role playing games out there.
Yes.
So oftentimes, if you hear tabletop RPG, tabletop role playing, that's something that's usually all of it. Although 90% of the time, if I'm going to reference a tabletop RPG, I'd call it a tabletop RPG. But if I'm going to reference D&D, I'm going to say D&D because people know D&D.
Yeah, agree.
So what happens is a lot of the world of tabletop role playing is kind of sitting on the back of Dungeons and Dragons. What is D&D going to do? You're in second edition and everybody's got these weird things, and D&D goes, we're going to release 3.5. We're also going to release this open license where everybody can, and then suddenly everybody's doing a Die 20 RPG.
Yes.
Everybody's doing it. And then they build it up, and then they're like, we're going to simplify this. We're going to make it a lot easier. We're going to make it more
4E.
inclusive. We're going to make it so, well.
And everyone hates it.
We're not talking.
I love 4E. I am a 4E baby. Okay. I have 4E.
Then you should totally know Eric Scott DeBee, since he wrote like 70% of those books.
I love it. If I could get 4E people on
the
my
design
team,
wasn't Eric's problem. Wasn't Eric. Eric was just writing the stuff for the system that was created.
Yeah.
Don't blame Eric for the system, guys.
Look, I get it. I understand as a player, it's super like combat heavy, and it's a drudge. I get it.
It's World of Warcraft in a book.
Yes, as a DM, and I'm talking only as a DM, it is an absolute dream. The lore, the stat blocks, the way minions work, the bloody system, all of that is one of those things that came from 4E. So I love 4E. And also, even though I started in 3.5, the people I played 3.5 weren't very nice. So when 4E came out, it was a brand new start for me. And that's why I love 4E. So it was where I started my love of D&D and my love of tabletop RPGs.
And that during 4th edition, because, you know, while you love it, a lot of people didn't. We mentioned that. And so a lot of other companies were like, well, we're going to still grow our stuff. But their stuff grew because of D&D releasing 4th edition. You know, not because of them, but kind of in spite of them, I guess.
In spite of, it's kind of like well, they crapped the bed. Let's see if we can take their people from. Let's see if we can take the bag from them.
But the overall RPG community, all the game design companies, they all grew. So it's kind of like tabletop RPG always grows because of what D&D does.
Almost always.
And then we get 5th edition that comes out. And let's not talk about what 5th edition D&D has brought to the table. Now, maybe it's not because of 5th edition. Maybe it's because of other things, you know, like things like the Big Bang Theory, things like Critical Role, you know, stuff like that.
Or
obviously
that,
brings...
what's that show with the kids?
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things, yeah.
You know, so pop culture has a lot to do with it and the growth of D&D. However, there is still a ton of stuff that 5th edition did. They made it. They made it a lot easier. They simplified it without making it corridor. You weren't pigeonholed into you have to do this, right?
Right.
And so now they've announced they're doing D&D. Is it called? What is it called? Is it just D&D 2024? Is it called?
I don't know what they're calling it.
It was D&D 1 for a while.
Yeah, it was like 1 D&D or something, or D&D 1, and then it was people were calling like 5.5 or something, and now it's like PHP D&D 2024. I don't know what they're calling it.
Well, you have the book. What's it say?
It just says Dungeons and Dragons. I'm not joking. It literally just says Dungeons and Dragons Player's Handbook. Let's open it.
What's above? What's the little red lettering above it?
The world's greatest role-playing game. That's exactly what it says. It doesn't say 5e. It doesn't say 4e. I looked. Believe me, I looked. It literally doesn't say hello.
Raid! Another raid! Let's pause that timer. Welcome on in, Raiders. Death Joker coming in with a raid hot and heavy. My good buddy Death Joker. An alumni member of Off the Pod. He was here a few months, like last month, I think. Welcome on in, Death Joker. We talking about Dead by Daylight earlier. You were playing World of Warcraft. What?
Oh,
speaking of World of Warcraft 4E.
Surely Hicks
Look at this. Playing some Dead by Daylight on the clip. Welcome on in, Raiders.
I thought I distracted them with the pebble, but it didn't work.
Death Joker premier Dead by Daylight streamer. What he likes to call a drunken Dead by Daylight streamer because he drinks during the entire thing.
I'm close by it.
Oh, look at that! Maybe not. What? Oh, run away!
Another video game that creeps me out. Like, absolutely creeps me out.
It did at first. It creeped me out at first, and then once I got used to it, I was like, it's not creepy now. It's just, it's a cool game.
That lag is real.
Lag. Guys, go and check out Death Joker if you haven't already. He's played some World of Warcraft. How are you doing, buddy? If you need to take care of yourself, please do so. Welcome on in, Raiders. I am joined by Classic Sam. She is, much like me, a streamer, podcaster, vodcaster, interview host, amazing content creator. So please go and check out Classic Sam if you haven't already. We've talked all kinds of stuff, a lot of gaming, a lot of nerd stuff, but I mean, we've talked. We could probably just sit here. We probably could have had no conversation, no topics, and just sat and chatted for like 3 hours.
Chatted the entire time. Just go from one topic to the next and be perfectly fine.
Maybe we could just sit around and just bullshit for a while.
Now I know what that means, and that's going to be a thing in my head now, which is perfectly fine. But yeah, the new PHP doesn't say 5e, 4e, 5.1. It doesn't say anything.
Okay. Okay.
It literally just says Player's Handbook. I don't know what the actual release is going to be because this is an early release.
Oh, okay. So it might say something.
It might say something
Because they need something to differentiate it from anything else that's D&D, right? How are they?
Right,
how are
exactly.
they gonna
So they must be going to do. They must have to name it something.
Give
I
it
just don't know
something,
what
yeah.
that something is.
That's for their marketing department to figure out.
It's totally the marketing department thing. I think they may be on the cusp of something because they're just probably like back and forth because you keep naming it themselves. But it is simultaneously interesting and frustrating to read. There are some things that I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then there are some things like, what are we doing and why are we doing that? Like, not why are we doing it? I know why they're doing it, but what are we doing? Like, why are we messing with it like this? Like, it's really, really weird.
So I had Owen Casey Stevens on a number of years back, and we chatted about that. And he said the reason that companies put out new books is because when you have a new player's handbook, a new core rule book, as it were, that's where the money is. A core rule book is where you make the most money. It's not the splat book, it's not the add-ons, because you can't play the game without the players, without the core rule books.
Right.
So that's why they come out with a new one. It's because, that's how they make money.
I think that's only a partial answer.
Well, and part of me was like, in the response to that, I was like, yeah, but there is so much more that the community that's already playing it wants. You collect, you look in, you can't see here because of this thing, green screen, but like people with shelves of books that are getting all of them, people that want the content, they want the information. So I don't know. I don't know if I necessarily agree to that thought, but it's definitely one that he's worked for Wizards of the Coast. He's worked for Dungeons and Dragons. He's worked for Paizo. He's worked for done Pathfinder. He's the main designer for Starfinder and pretty much every gaming company in the world he's worked on. So it's like, I can't discredit him. Like, he's worked for all those companies. He knows his stuff. So if he says that's one of the main reasons, then that's got to be one of the main reasons.
It's definitely one of the main reasons, but I don't think it's the only reason. I think one of the other reasons is that when the core rule book has been out for a while, it's harder to bring new people in. So when there is a new core book, it's easier to say, here's a new one. People kind of go, oh, that's the new book. I heard it's brand new. I'll pick it up. Because everyone is learning the same thing from that point forward. Even the people who've been playing for a while. Because as a DM, as someone who plays all the time, but also someone who runs games, I want to learn the new stuff too.
Right.
So because more than likely my clients are going to pick this book up as opposed to 5e. Like, no one picks up a 4e book to start playing. No one picks up a 3.5e.
Well, that's because they're not on the shelf.
Right, they're not. You're right. They're not on the shelf. But it's like if you're going on Amazon, you type in D&D.
Yeah, you want the newest whatever it is.
You're going to go with the newest whatever it is. So they're going to get the newest of whatever it is, what they're trying to learn. So I think that's one of the other reasons that they put out a new player's handbook. Why they did what they did with the classes in here, I think it's because to make the new player who picks this up for the very first time feel like a badass.
Okay.
Now, the reason I say this is because they've simplified a lot of the subclasses. They've taken out subclasses, so now I think all the subclasses only have all the classes only have 3 subclasses now. Like, for example, Ranger, there's no longer a Horizon Walker or a Stormkeeper. It's gone. So all the classes now have only 3. There is some of the classes have things that they can do that I don't necessarily agree with, like barbarians. They irritate me now. Specifically, do you know how Relentless Rage works? Relentless Rage?
I don't know anything. I don't know hardly anything from the new book because I haven't seen it.
So Relentless Rage from the old book
Okay.
We're just sitting right here. So Relentless Rage from the old book, and I can only
Okay,
read this
Relentless
next.
Rage. I guess I just did. I thought you were talking about something from the new book.
Yeah, it's from the so they've changed it from the old to this two different, completely different things now. So Relentless Rage for Barbarian has always been to get knocked down to 0 hit points. You, as a barbarian, beat a DC 10, beats it. DC 10, you pop back up with 1 hit point. Yay for me. And then subsequently going forward, DC for that goes up by 5. Okay, so now they get knocked down again. They have to roll a DC 15. They have to beat a DC 15, and so on and so forth.
And they need to sing that song. I get knocked out, but I get up
I
again.
get up again, and I'm never gonna pick with that. Okay, so that's how it was. 1 hit point down, 1 hit point. Fine. Now the new PHP, they decided that 1 is not enough. They decided now with Relentless Rage, you get knocked down, you still roll a DC, roll a D20, beat a DC 10, beats it. But you get back up now with twice the level that you're currently at of hit points. So if you're at the minimum, you can have 22 hit points because it starts at level 11.
Okay, so you become like an unstoppable wrecking ball.
Yes, exactly. Like I came in like a rogue, you know. So, like I get it. I get why I kind of get why they did it. It feels like they did it for, like I said, the new player.
Yeah.
Because the new player to be knocked out in combat and to die, and then.
By the way, if you're a new player and you're starting at level 10, shame GM, shame.
Shame GM. Also, why would you do that to yourself? Like, bruh, even like if they like you don't get relentless rage till level 11. So obviously it's not something a new, like unless they're like turbo playing. Like I've had people who starting out playing who like want to play all the damn time. So and I'm like we're level up really really fast. I have to slow them down, but I've had that happen. I think it comes down to they want to make it easier for the player to understand, and they want to make it so that the player coming in is like, I feel like a superhero.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think.
I think that's part of it. And every game, every time they come out with a new edition, the character classes get stronger.
Yes, you're absolutely right. The character classes do get stronger.
You know, remember when they first introduced I remember when they first introduced feats, and I was like, "Oh, sweet! I get a feat every 5 levels, and then maybe if I'm a fighter, then you get into 5th edition. It's like, oh, you get a feat like every other level, maybe every level if you want, depending on your class. You can get a feat every level. It's like, what?
They've changed it again. So, and I was more concerned about what they were doing. So they've changed the feats for everything. Blah 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 blah. The Constitution, whatever the fuck. They've changed the feats so that each class now has, what the fuck is it?
Well, I was gonna say, I'm like, when it comes to some of these games, I'm like, I'm not a spring chicken, right?
Yes.
So I'm getting up there. I'm at the where are my bifocals stage of my life. I'm the goddamn kids get off my lawn. I'm at that stage of my life. So I'm like, do I really want to start a new RPG system, or can I just keep using the ones in the back? And a lot of new players, they're like, they play a new game system. They'll play for 3-4 sessions. And let's start a new campaign.
Yeah.
Right. Which I hated. When I was a young role player, I hated that. Like I wanna give me a game and let me play it to completion.
Let's play it to completion.
Be careful what you ask for.
I hate that.
Be careful what you ask for, because now I'm like, God, I've been playing the same 5 characters for 10 years now. The same system. I wouldn't mind. Let's can we do a one shot? Can I make a character? Can I whatever?
As a player, shot. I am so good at like making sure that my character dies so I can switch. I've gotten really good at like.
Well, I can't do that. I get too invested in my own character.
I am invested in the character, but if we are in a campaign where I'm like, oh my God, I hate this so much, or I don't really like feel like the character's gelling or something, I will find a way to die. We will find a way to jump off a cliff. We will climb something that we're not supposed to climb. What's in the hole? What, stuff like that. So look, it usually comes before. It comes with a conversation that happens before with the DM. That's what usually happens. So I usually be like, look, I hate this. Like, I hate where we're going. I hate the fact that my character is useless in this story. Can I die?
That's a good way. Just ask, like, can I just whatever? Yeah.
Yeah, can I die? Like I always ask before. I don't like. Look, listen, these spaces. Just for a second. Don't just do shit. Like, don't go in a game and just do something. Have a conversation before, talk about it, see where you're at, see if it can be fixed, and then go from there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so with the new PHB, I think what's going to happen is this. I think the same thing that happened when 4E came out is going to happen with this. Is that people are going to either stick with what they know, like people stuck with 3.5.
Yeah.
So people want to stick with 5E and don't move, or they're going to move to a different system. Do I think it's going to be Pathfinder? No, I think it's going to be Cypher System. I think that because Cypher System is gaining very slowly, but gaining popularity, people are going to go, I don't want to do this anymore. WotC and Hasbro are giving me a headache. I'm going to go do Cypher System.
Yeah. Or Fate. I think it's called Fate. Is another
Fate,
system.
yeah, Fate's another system. I think that's what's going to happen. I don't think people are going to go to Paizo or Pathfinder because as much as Pathfinder is cool, it's very crunchy. And
I haven't played Pathfinder Second Edition yet, so
yeah, that's the thing. And then here's the thing: the style of play is less crunchy now. The style of play is more about the role play and about the story. Yes, combat is still a thing, but it's more about the story. Castleton is a good example. like Castleton's huge. If you don't know what Castleton is, it's a massive game that's being run by AJ Winters from Winter's Tales. I think it's like 100 and something players. It's absolutely insane. It's so much fun to watch. If you can, go over to our channel, check it out. I forget what episode they're at. That Mindari's playing in it. Bunch of people who are super famous are in it, but that's what I mean. Like, it's a heavy role playing game. Does combat happen? Of course, combat is going to happen. It's part of the game. But I don't think people are going to. If the people who are playing currently now are not going to pick this up, and if they do pick it up, they're going to take bits and pieces and still run 5e.
Yeah. Is it still? Are they still planning on it to be reverse compatible? Whatever that means.
It seems like it is. It seems like I could take the Barbarian from here and totally run it in 5e. They switched around some of the things like Relentless. I think Relentless Rage. I'm usually using that because it's in my head right now. It used to be level 14. Now it's level 11. They've given the Barbarian, I guess technically a spell, which is weird. They've given the Barbarian at level 14 with Vivification.
So they could, yeah. I don't.
Yeah. So at level 14.
What are you? I'm a Barbarian healer. Okay, what are you cross-classing? I'm not. It's just part of my Barbarian. I'm just a Barbarian.
It's part of the something.
We can keep talking. We got a little off topic on that, so we'll just keep going on this a little bit.
It's part of this one of the subclasses. I think it's part of Path of the Zealot. But for Path of the Zealot at level 14, you get a revivification that if a party member is within 30 feet of you, and they have rage points now. Really weird. So, like key points, they have rage points. Weird. So you can spend a rage point.
Because you have to focus on when you get angry. And then once you can't get angry. You've gotten angry so many times you can't get angry anymore.
It's old hack. It's an old hack. I don't know how to do this. I'm sad now. But you can spend a rage point and heal your party member to, I believe, your level of health points. So they can pop back up to at the minimum 14 health point.
I mean,
So,
I can see
yeah.
subclasses and stuff, and like secondary classes and like archetypes and stuff getting something similar to that. But for that to be the main one, that's a little.
Yeah, it's part of the Path of the Zealot, the subclass of Path of the
Although,
Zealot.
to be honest, on the thing, like, you know, they also had rounds before so many rounds you could be in a raid. So I mean,
Yeah.
I get it. It's not out of the ordinary to have a
Right.
limitation on how much you can kick ass.
Yeah, right, exactly. Look, like I said, I think that people are going to leave D&D in droves? No. But do I think they're going to pick this up in droves? Absolutely not. I don't think they're going to make as much money as they think they're going to make.
Yeah, no, I and because I don't know enough about it, I can't say, but I do know that whatever they do, no matter what they do, in the long run, whatever they do is still, I think it's still going to be positive for the RPG community as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's what it's always been. When they've done really good, the RPG community does really good. When they do really bad, the RPG community does really good.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. That's exactly right. when they really fuck up, then the RPG community is like, "Let's go."
Yeah. Every step they make is a positive step for the RPG community as a whole. Except for, it's not necessarily a good step for their company and their very specific, their group.
Well, at the end of the day, here's the thing, and Mandari said this yesterday, I totally agree. At the end of the day, it's a company. We are living in a capitalistic society.
Yeah, they got to make money.
And they have to appease their stockbrokers and their stock buyers and all the people who buy their stock. They have to make money so their stock goes up. Hasbro is huge. I have Hasbro dolls. So they're massive. They're absolutely big. So they have to keep doing this in order to get the money out of it. I understand that.
Here's what gets me is because we've seen over the course of the last few years that, yes, Hasbro is this big thing. But when you look at their income, one of their biggest incomes is Magic the Gathering and D&D.
Yeah.
So why they keep stepping on the toes of Magic the Gathering and D&D to push their other crap that isn't earning them money and doesn't have a huge following that's continuing to grow, that has a huge future in growth because it's spreading like wildfire, you don't dump a bucket of water on your growing wildfire of income just so you can feed the dead weeds that are behind you.
When they're literally taking a piss. I feel like they're literally taking a piss on the fire. Like, what the fuck, bro?
And I think that goes to something that was mentioned earlier. It's like you
true.
People don't understand. So the corporate bigwigs at Hasbro, they don't play games.
Oh God, no.
They don't. They barely play with toys. So they're making decisions, and they don't understand the community they're making decisions for. They're just trying to line their pockets. Yeah. And every time they make a decision, it backfires. And they're like, oh, that was a bad choice. Well, no shit.
Right. Well, it's like...
Learn your audience.
Not only that, but they get Hasbro. They get CEOs in.
Hasbro.
I love that. They get the new CEOs or COOs of WotC and of Hasbro. And you can tell that these are people who are career corporation people. They have never sat down, or if they have, maybe years ago, but they've never sat down and played D&D. They've never sat down and played Magic the Gathering. They've never sat down with a mini and looked at the
have the corporate CEOs gone to Gen Con and participated in some of these tables?
So they were there. I don't know if they were corporate CEOs there. I'm not CEOs. They were corporate executives there. They were very nice and very kind. They said all the cool things. But they were not the executives that I believe would make a difference in what needs to make a difference to change.
Well, and they were there and they were saying things, but were they there and did they go sit down at gaming tables with people? and play some of the games? Did they go
That's
there
the thing.
and
I don't think so. They ran panels. They did a bunch of panels. I sat with, I got to sit in one of their panels. They did some meet and greets where you got to chat with them. The actual, like you spoke with the executives themselves. They were very markety and pushing the inclusionary stuff and diversification of the new PHP. And I say that because I got a lot of, we are trying to incorporate new stories to include every story. And my response was, and will still be, that's impossible. And to attempt that is to diminish those stories. Because if you try to include every story, you hear no story. So that's absolutely insane.
Here's the thing. It's the GM's job.
Right.
To tell the story.
Mm-hmm.
Like, again, we go back to pigeonholing, right? And then being like forced into a thing. Like, what is the point? I might as well just play a video game.
Exactly.
That's
like
no offense to you who loves 4th edition, but that was my biggest gripe with 4th edition is if I want to play World of Warcraft, I'm going to go play World of Warcraft. If I want to have one way to play a paladin, I have one way to play a paladin in a video game. I don't need a GM. I don't need a thing. I don't need any of that.
Here's my issue with people who have an issue with 4E. People are like, oh, it was combat heavy. If I, as a GM, is telling the story, I'm the one that makes the combat heavy.
Right.
If I am the GM that's telling the story, I can take out as much combat as I want, and we can role play all day in 4E.
And I didn't have a problem with combat. I had a problem with this is the one way to do this one character, and any other way, you might as well not have a character. You're going to die.
Right. And here's my issue. I did have issues with 4E. Like, I had issues with them making it so that certain classes were the driver, or certain classes were the protector, or whatever the case may be. I had an issue with that. Like, don't tell me what to do. Like, I'm a sorcerer. If I want to be in front, I'll be in front. Fight me. Like you don't tell me what to do. But I
Get
think
off my lawn.
Exactly. I think what people are failing to realize is that even though they technically took that stuff out in 4E, it's still, 5E, it still exists. So the sorcerer is squishy, the warlock is squishy, the rogue is meant to hide. They don't have the labels, but they're still doing the things that they're supposed to be doing. They're still pigeonholed because that's what they're meant to do. The tank is gonna tank. The barbarian is gonna barbarian. The fighter is gonna be in front because the barbarian and fighter is supposed to be in front. In 4E, they had labels: leader, driver, protect, whatever the case would be. I can't think of them right now for the life of me. But they just took the labels away and left it so that people go, well, my strength is like -2. The fuck I'm doing in front of why am I in front of the party?
Right.
That's all they did. I think that's all and also they made it less freaking punchy.
Rockheim says for 4th, at first the only difference in character of the same class was what race they were. They came out with. They came out with other options later, but for me that was what killed my interest in 4th edition.
Yeah. So yeah, that's right. So initially what they did, what they did, people were like, no, it came down to, why are you telling me how to play mine character? This is mine.
Mine.
And mine. And 4E said, this is what you're supposed to do. This is how you're gonna do it. But if you look in a 4E book, they constantly say, I think there's like 400 instances of the word, this is a role-playing game. It's something like along those lines. But they initially they try to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
Don't tell people what to do.
Right.
That's what the issue was.
And I think that's one of the things that I really liked about 3rd edition 3.5.
Yeah.
It's something I like about something I really like about Pathfinder, and something I was growing to like about 5th edition, because I hadn't got a lot of time to play it, but I kind of in the last couple of years have been trying to get in a game here or there when I can of fifth
Mhm.
edition, just because I wanted to learn it and I wanted to try and play it. And then WotC did their BS and then I stopped. You know what I'm talking about. If you're in the social
Yeah,
media world and
yeah,
you know
yeah, yeah. You
TTRPG,
totally know what they're talking
you
about.
know that you just don't want to say anything because you might have Pinkertons at your door. So
Yeah.
I don't know where I was going with this, but yeah, I totally like. Oh, I do know. I like the fact that in all of those you have, whether you have archetypes, whether you have
Mhm.
prestige classes, whether you have something that you add to your character that changes how your character is, fundamental. You get options.
Yes,
And
yes.
that is something I've always really liked about all of those, is because you can still be, Pathfinder, you can still be an alchemist, but you can
Mhm.
focus on one part of that alchemist more than others.
Yes.
But then you've also got
yes.
like your skills can also tell who your character is. So it's like if I put points into this, I can focus on
Oh,
this
yeah.
aspect. Like
Yeah.
in we're talking about, I mentioned alchemist because that's the one that's on my brain. Like you can be an alchemist who is a merchant, and you can build a shop and do a merchant things and appraise things and learn how to do things and be flexible. Or you can be the
Right.
guy that drinks a mutagen and Hulk smash.
Oh, smash! I love
You
that.
can do that. You can be
Yeah.
the guy that like has like an ooze blob pet. You
Right.
have options, but they're all within this realm of alchemist and how an alchemist is, or a wizard. You have all your schools and whatever. So I liked that you can play. I always say that I can play a rogue for the rest of my life. I could play D&D. I could play I could play 5, 6, 7 games in a couple months time, and I can make a new rogue that is completely different every
Yes,
single time,
every single time.
but still be a rogue
Yes, every single time.
every single time. What are you? I'm a cat burglar rogue. Oh, okay. What about this one? This one's a pickpocket thief. What's this one? This one's a con artist. What? Okay.
Right.
What's this one? Just go on, so on and so forth. And that's what I love about role playing, because you can have
Yeah.
an individual, unique character, but still fill whatever the book says.
Whatever the book says. I think the new PHB is trying to simplify that for the new player.
You make it too simple,
haven't-
though.
Yeah, and that's I think what's happening.
That's what happened with 4th edition. I think they tried to make it too simple.
They did try to make it too simple, but I think here's the thing about 4th edition. 4th edition for a player, I'm not gonna lie, it sucks. It's not the best. It's not the best. It's weirdly balanced as a player. For the DM, it is one of the most. What's the word I want? It's so nicely self-contained and well balanced, the monster and the lore for the DM. It makes my life so much easier. It made my life so much easier as the DM. Yes, for players, it's fucking stuff. It's gonna. Did you not do that?
I just had a thought. In my brain. And my thought is, if they release this, right, which they're going to do, they're going to release this.
It's going to release this next month.
If they continue to support and release stuff for 5th edition, in addition to this new system, I'd be okay with it.
Right. Yes.
Because my brain, here's my brain. You know how you think of something and then it makes you think of something else, and then it makes you think of something else. That just happened in my brain during this conversation. You had said something, and I thought, because it was simple, and I was like, yeah, well, why would they make it simple? For people that it's too complicated. Maybe they want to include kids. Maybe they want to whatever. It's like, well, why don't they just make a simple version and just have it be separate? And then when people get used to it, they can take that step up to the more complicated one.
Right,
and maybe that is what they're doing here. Maybe they're going to release them both.
I think that maybe what they're doing. I mean, look.
Because they said it's backwards compatible, right?
They said it's backwards compatible. And from what I've read so far, you can take a class from this new book and plop it into a current game right now, 5e game. Absolutely. No problem. Super easy. There's nothing really. They did change the character sheet. I don't know how I feel about it. I can't show you because he'll get a copyright strike. I got a copyright strike showing you one page on the Twitch.
Wow.
I got a warning. I got a copyright warning. But apparently people who are reading it on TikTok, if you show the book, you will get a strike. You will get a CGV. on TikTok.
Oh,
specifically. Yeah, so I can show you the front. That's easy, but I can't show you the inside. But I think that's exactly what they're trying to do. If they did it and combined the both,
thank you for the
I don't think
Lord
they have a problem. I don't think they have a problem. But if they do it to specifically say this is its own thing and that's its own thing, they're gonna have a problem. They're gonna have a major problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope that that's what they do. I hope that they keep putting out content for 5th edition and they keep supporting that. And this is just an extra thing that's going to.
I think they said that they will no longer be bringing anything out for this. From what I hear, I'm not sure if that's true or not. If that's the case,
that's a shame.
That sucks. You know,
because they're gonna, and that's the thing. If they're gonna force, because that's what it is. You force somebody. You're forcing somebody to change.
Yeah.
You don't have a choice. If you're going to continue playing and you're going to be moving along with the company, you have no option but to move forward and take all of your hard-earned money that you've already spent and chuck it in the trash.
I think that's why they said backwards compatible. I think that's why they were like, let's make it so that we can take these new classes or these new things and plop it into 5e.
Yeah, but that's also like saying 3.5 is back compatible to Pathfinder.
It's not gonna. I mean, look.
Like it is. You can totally. I've done it.
You can.
I've done the thing where, like, yeah, you're allowed to take character classes from 3.5 and play them in Pathfinder. I've done it.
Yeah,
doesn't always work out the best.
It's good luck. Like, I would not like to be the person heading that table. That was like, what class? Where's my book?
Right.
You know.
Rockheim says, I had a friend say that 4th edition was a bad RPG, but it was a great miniatures game, which I thought was interesting.
As a great miniature, which tells you a lot, because if it's a great miniatures game, who moves the miniatures on the table? The DM, right? Like. In 4E in the Dungeon Master's Guide, I think, it gives you like, I'm trying to think of it 1 second. It gives you like these actions and explicit rules to handle.
I figured I should start the timer for the potluck since we're.
Oh yeah, probably.
Well, we were still on the 5th edition, the new 4th edition, 5th edition, 6th edition.
But kind of go back and forth a little bit, you know, because the new 5th edition. The way they're releasing it, I think they're trying to avoid what happened.
Just call it D&D Pathfinder.
Well, I think they're trying to avoid what happened with 4E, because they released 4E. It was like, screw 3.5. You can't use it anymore. These are the new rules. Yeah. This is what we say. Screw you. Yeah. You know.
Well, which is also what they did with 5th edition, but nobody cared.
Right. That's what I'm saying. The thing with 5th edition was like that by that time they were just like hoping people would come back. You know.
Yeah.
And they were the iron just happened to be hot at the right time for 5e. Do I think the iron is going to be hot for this one?
Yeah,
I don't know. Good luck.
Let's shift gears because I have a note written down right here.
I
have a note written down over here. A note right there.
God.
You mentioned something.
Oh, what did I mention?
You mentioned improv.
Oh, wow.
You did an improv class. What did you learn? Tell me about this, because I love improv. I love improv comedy. I love improv stand-up. I love improv on streams. I'm planning on doing an improv stream show coming up down the road. I want to know what you learned and what it was all about, and if you're good, and why did you do it? I mean, I know you said book talked you into it.
So I did it because I'm good at planning. I will give you a list of questions before stream. I will let you know what time we're starting. I will give you a countdown at the end of the stream. I'll tell you what's going to happen in the video and what you're going to get and all this stuff. Great at it. During when I'm DMing, I'm really good at guiding the story because I have my story notes. So I know where the story goes. I know how to like pivot and stuff like that. But when it comes to role playing, NPCs, or if I'm actually playing myself,
yeah,
I don't think about what that character is supposed to do until 2 hours later when the story's over. 2 hours later, I'm like, they should have said this instead. They should have said this instead. Why did I say that? Like, that doesn't come naturally for me. It actually makes me nervous. So you could tell when I'm floundering because I'm like, he is gonna, I've gotten a little bit better. It's just so hard for me to do. So book, in his infinite wisdom, you should take an improv class. Like, well, why would I do it? It's
Yeah.
So what did he do? We were chatting on Discord one night, like bullshitting, whatever. And he was just like,
Just wanna
let's
sit
do
around and
improv
bullshit for a
now. Yeah. He's like, let's do improv now. Absolutely put me on the spot. It's literally just the two of us. Freaked me out. I was like, all right. It was just a word game. I'm like, I don't know. So that convinced me. I took an improv class. There are parts in this class where they're like, pretend you're a couple, and you're in a huge fight that you're about to make up.
Wait. Hold on. So you go to a class to learn improv, and they just shove you into how to do
100%.
things. They didn't actually teach you. Yeah. Good. Take a different class. Take a different class.
It was a walk-in. They allow walk-ins. I think it was like $20. Pay $20, and you can walk into the class. And they're like, okay, we're doing this today. And there's some people who obviously been there for a while. I don't know any of these people. So I'm supposed to pretend we're in a relationship, in a fight, and about to make up. I am freaked out. Like, my anxiety spiked so badly. Did I do it? I tried my absolute best, but I'm never going to see these people again.
But to sit there, like, okay. So first, it's a walk-in, right? So you're going in, and so they have an itinerary.
Yes.
That they're already going to follow. So if you just walk in, you're there for that. So, you could be walking in on an advanced day or an intermediate day. So I get that. I get that. But to me, if you're going to do an improv class, you need to teach skills and techniques for which to do the improv, right? So like, have you ever heard okay, let me help you.
Okay.
Do you know what the term yes and means?
Yes.
So explain to the class what you think.
Oh my God, ew.
Yes and means.
Ew. Why am I okay? Fine. So I mean,
this is for you, Book.
So yes and is like when someone shut up, spiritual response. So yes and is oh my God, I hate this so much. Is when you ask a question, can I do this thing? I do it on my tables too. Like someone will say, can I charm the ooze monster? Yes. And tell me why you would want to charm the ooze monster, because that's disgusting. That's what that's how I interpret it as.
Right.
They never even mentioned this.
So there's depth to yes and, because you don't have to say the word yes and, right? So when you're having two people converse and one person can be like, oh, you remember that, you're playing in an improv thing, and somebody's like, oh, you remember that time you went to that bar and you got so drunk and you threw up all over somebody, and you could say yes, and then I did this. So you take ownership of what they say, and then you move forward with it.
Right.
What a lot of people early on don't understand is you don't have to say yes and, right? You could just move on and continue the story.
Okay.
For instance, if somebody in your mind, right, you have this thing that you're portraying. You're a prisoner in that's that escaped. You're an escaped prisoner, right? And then the leader of the guard comes up to you and says, you're covering up your shackles. And they're like, what do you got there? And you say, oh, nothing. You're not saying yes and.
Right.
And then that person just moves on. entertainment, no entertainment value there.
Right.
No, the audience doesn't care. But yes, and could also be like, what do you got under your whatever
turn.
there? Well, that's a funny story. Funny you should say that. To be honest, my friend, this is what happened, you know, and then you're opening again. That's a yes and.
Okay.
They've said, what do you got? You didn't shut down the conversation. You're moving the conversation along and accept what they say and move on with it. And then maybe you can give them something else. So it doesn't just have to be
that makes more sense.
It's moving the story, accepting what they have to say, what they say is fact, and moving on. And sometimes it can be ridiculous, and that's what makes it funny, is accepting it and moving on. And so that's the thing. If you're going to an improv class and they don't teach you something as simple as a technique of yes and, like maybe they already covered that, but if they're just jumping in and being like, here's the thing, like you wouldn't know in the argument with your fake spouse that you're going to make up with, if you don't know the technique of yes and, that ruins that entire practice.
I mean, the person who was running it was like, okay, you're doing this. You cannot, what did he say? You cannot say no. He's like, you cannot say no. And then he's like, you cannot be silent. Those are the two rules I had. So I couldn't shut up. Like I couldn't just clamp down and not say anything. And I couldn't say no. Super hard for me. Because my whole thing is like, I don't like this conversation, so the conversation's not going to happen. Have a nice day. Have a nice day. We can talk about this in 4 days. That's when I feel better. So that was super hard. Also, being in close proximity to someone I don't know physically makes me anxious. Like I get physically terrified. There's a weird, like, I don't know you. We are less than 5 feet from each other. You're in my personal space and we're having an intimate moment. I don't want this. I don't want this. This is not, I don't want this, And I feel like actors, they get to know each other. You know what I mean? Like actors get to know each other, role playing, people who do live play, they get to know each other. So that's okay. Whereas that was terrifying. And I hated it.
There's a lot of having to think on your feet in improv and in GMing. And in streaming, right? In streaming, you have to improv. Something just happened. What do I say? What do I do? How do I act? There's a lot of, if you space out and you miss whatever happened, it's like, okay, how do I cover?
Right.
For whatever just happened.
Right. Or like if there's like silence, I hate silence, like in my streams. So if chat is not moving, I will just keep talking.
Which is good. That's a good technique.
Which is a good technique. But it doesn't translate sometimes if I'm playing. Or if I'm DMing, super easy. I don't know what the disconnect is, but playing and DMing are two different things.
Yeah, it is.
So
that's why Epic has so many singing clips. That's true. That's why I am not a good singer. I hate the sound of me singing anything. Like I don't mind hearing my own voice in a playback. A lot of people can't stand that, hearing their own voice played back to them. But me singing, because I cannot sing. And I don't like it, but I do it. I enjoy doing it. I don't like the sound of it. And so, of course, every time I grew up in working in a lot of restaurants and working in places where it's like, there's always music going on.
Right,
and so
right.
You add the improv to that of like, I would just re-add lyrics, take a song and change the lyrics to whatever I want. And there you go. And so I do a lot of that and I'll do it on the fly. And sometimes I don't even realize I'm doing it.
Oh, I love that.
And I'll do it on stream. And then of course they'll be like, oh, clipping that. And then I'll see a clip and like, why are you guys linking a clip? What is this? And I'll hear it. I'm like, what just happened? When did this happen? No, this is a horrible.
When was I singing?
Yeah.
I think everyone can sing. I just think that it's just that your voice is untrained. I hate the sound of my voice though. Like I like the sound of my singing voice. I hate the sound of my speaking voice because over the years, and I think something is going on, this is not my speaking voice. It sounds way different from years ago to me. People who obviously don't over the years have never noticed, but to me, this sounds different. So I hate hearing it.
Yeah. For years of radio and editing, audio and acting and video and hearing, like I am so used to hearing my own voice outside of what my ears are, my internal hearing my voice.
Your speakers inside your head.
I know what my voice sounds like outside of, from your point of view, I know what my voice sounds like. So that doesn't bother me, but most people, they don't.
I know I can sing. I think everyone can sing. It's just a matter of training.
Red can sing. Red can sing. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
He's yeah. I'm surprised that they didn't accept him when he. What did you do? Did you go? You went to was it The Voice or was it America's Got Talent that you tried out for?
Did you really?
Yeah, and everybody in the community was like, why did they not at least pick you to move on?
You went to The Voice?
Yeah.
Shut up.
So he auditioned for The Voice and they didn't take him. And I was like, they should at least move him to the next preliminary. Like
Is there a video of it? I love when I find stuff like this is what I live for. Like little nuances like this. Is there a video of it? Is there like audio or video of this? I want to know.
There might be somewhere. I know a handful of community members used to do karaoke, like live stream karaoke, and Red would go in there and he'd pick songs and do them. But yeah, he does a lot of country style music.
I'm gonna find it now. I'm gonna find it. Sorry, so I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna hunt it down, and I'm probably gonna play it in my stream. Anyway, so. Not the ocean, but I do have some YouTube reviews. Oh, nice. Francis Got Talent emailed me about being on their show to do hand farts. So, for those of you who don't know, Book is an avid hand fart artist. He can hand fart literally to almost any song, like literally any song. It's amazing.
Did you do it, Book? Did you do it? Did Book do it? Did he do it?
I don't think you did it.
Why not? Why not?
He has YouTube videos of himself hand farting.
I mean, it's a payday, isn't it? Even if it's silly and people are like, "What the hell?" and they're like, "No, thank you."
It would be amazing.
Imagine the people that would come in to find you on the. Online.
I don't even understand how he does it. He does this thing like
I can do it where I can feel the friction and I can feel the fartiness, but I can't actually get it to get sound. I used to be really good at the underarm one, but that's gross. So there's also this one, the one where you go like this. That one's a good one too.
Yeah, I know. I can't do that. I never got on TV. But I've auditioned a few times for The Voice and for Idol. Once never made it past the first. How is this possible?
Yeah, that's what we all say. Especially when you watch some of the people that make it, and you're like, why are they even on this show?
Yeah.
Like, how did they get there? I don't
know. We kind of fucked up before.
I don't know if I want to be known as the hand fart guy. I do other stuff too.
I know the art is better. The art is better. The hand farts are amazing though. It's so funny. It's hilarious. And the hold downs. I love my hold downs. He does hold downs. They make me happy.
Yes, I love those. And again, improv, right? Improv.
Yeah. Look is super good at improv. He's really, really good at it. Like, I could never. I would lose my brain would shut down. And I'd start to drill. It wouldn't happen.
That's why I want to host a show that's that, so that I don't have to do it. I can just host. I could, some things I could do. But there are other things that I couldn't do a hoedown. Right. I don't think. I mean, maybe I could do it, but I wouldn't be very good at it.
Sometimes the hoedowns are the best. Listen, tomorrow. No, not tomorrow. Tomorrow come to my stream. Anyway, go on his book stream. He has something called a surprise hoedown. It'll cost you 25 bits. I think it's 25 bits. And he doesn't know it's coming. The music just starts and he has to go. It's amazing. I love it. It's absolutely
you have to
amazing.
enter in the subject. Is it like you click redeem and it's you have to enter.
He He has one with channel points where you can enter in any subject you want. I think it's like 500 channel points.
I know when I've rated. I know I've rated him a few times where he's done the hoedown off of a raid.
Yes, I love it. Like, so yeah, so for the channel points, you can do it. Sandwich never gives me anything to go on. I do not. I always do surprise ones. I refuse to give him any prompting whatsoever. 25 bits, music starts, go.
You have to give. I would get. You'd have to like give some ridiculous prompting. Like pick a topic that he knows nothing about. Right? Be like, black striped bass fishing.
I mean, he's so, like. I feel like if you give him a prompt, he'll pull it out every single time without fail.
We just have to find things that he doesn't know anything
doesn't
about.
Matter. It doesn't matter. I've seen people give him prompts that are like he doesn't know what the fuck that is. Pulls it out. Don't know how he does it. Surprise holdowns. You'll get one or two. You'll get like
challenge accepted.
One good one, or you'll get like. Be like, I don't like that one. We'll do another one. So I love that. Challenge accepted. Sometimes I write songs too, but I can't do it on command. Oh, come on. I don't believe that, but we'll see. You should screw one sheep. But what else did you have written down?
No, I'm writing something down now. I'm writing something down now. Yeah, I take notes. I take notes when I think of something. Sometimes I do a show and I think, oh, this would be kind of a cool thing, and I write it down. And sometimes it'll just be somebody will come into chat and say something. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right there. We'll write that down. So,
I get nervous. I'm nervous now.
You'll have to figure it.
Oh my gosh! Look, now I prepped. I was like, okay, these are the questions I think. These are the topics, whatever. I'm like, okay, prep. I prep for everything.
How could you prep for this though? How could you prep for this?
I mean, the last two parts I did a prep for, but the first two parts
we already had the topic that you had talked about.
Yeah. So those are the D&D 2024 kind of prepped because I read some of it, and the potluck obviously I can't prep for.
You can't prep for the potluck. You can never prep for the potluck.
No, not at all. I think that's the point. Apparently, jeez,
it is.
Let's make Sam nervous right over.
Well, the idea of the potluck is to give the audience also a chance to get us to talk about whatever. So we're talking about improv, or we're talking about whatever. We're talking about the hoedown.
I am boring.
Hey.
I am so boring. There's nothing you can possibly ask.
Hey! The end of this topics. That's all the topics. See, Sam, you made it. You made it all the way through to the end.
All the way to the end. I'm boring. I'm a boring person.
You are anything but boring. If you were boring, you wouldn't be here tonight.
I am. Okay, I'll take it. Thank you.
Do's it.
Robin Williams was the master improv person.
Oh yeah, he was amazing.
Him and Richard Pryor.
Oh yeah, Richard. A lot of those guys. I love the old school stand-up comedians.
Yes.
Steve Martin was really good as well. Steve Martin was great. And he still is. Him and Martin Short. Those guys are both freaking amazing.
It's just on your toes type of thing.
But yeah, Robin Williams was, because he was so out there. He used to do a show. It was a Comics for Relief. He was one of the show hosts.
I remember Comics for Relief.
It was him, Billy Crystal, and Whoopi Goldberg. And watching the three of them was magic.
Magic. It's absolutely the best show ever. I used to love that. Every time it came on, it was once a year. I loved it. It was so good. So when it stopped, I was just like so sad. But people always, the funny thing is that I'm terrified of like these improv classes for whatever reason. But someone said to me recently, and I had to I'm still thinking about it a little bit, about the fact that as a paramedic, I have to pivot, because shit in the body happens.
Yeah. I think there's a difference between improv as a performance and having to think on your feet in an emergency, having to think on your feet when something needs to get done.
Right.
There's something different between a performance and making shit up on the fly, making up nonsense and trying to be entertaining and funny, than it is to go, okay,
translation.
Here's a task that I need to get done.
we need to do this, this, and this, and this needs to get done. How are we going to do? I don't know, but we need to do it. I've got like, here's an idea. You know, so people see things in a different way, and some of them, much like GMing or role playing, like yes, everyone can do it. Some people it takes a lot of work and a lot of practice to be good at it.
Yes.
And other people, you give them the thing in their first time and they nailed it, knocked it out of the park.
Right. And then some other people, they like have to put the work in. And like, I get that, but I don't know. I don't know how. Once I take a proper improv class, what's it going to be like? But I did convince my sister to go with me.
Okay. And maybe pick one that's not like a walk-in. Pick one where they actually have this is day one.
Right.
And work your way through sort of situation. I think.
Well,
would be...
she's an actress. My sister's an actress, so I have a really good one.
So she's already got that in the bag, and so you'll still be there by yourself. Essentially, is what you're saying.
Well, no, I made her come with me for two reasons. One, I want her to get back into acting because I feel like she needs to. Like, I feel like she should be doing that. That's what she should be doing. And two, she's really good at going, go ahead, you can do it. Go. You know, like she's like, no, wait. You know, she's good at that with me. So that's why she's coming with me. Like, you have to come with me. You have to do this class with me. You pick it, you find it, you know which ones to look for, you do everything else. I will come and be there, but you have to do it. And I'll pay for it.
Cool. Yeah, that's great. That's great. I was part of a few improv. So I joined a theater group in college, on top of all the other stuff I did. And a lot of the people that were in the theater group were part of an improv troupe. And so, I was always talking about stand-up comedy and stand-up comedians and things that were funny. And, you know, I'd say stuff in conversation. We'd be having a conversation and I would just say stuff that was just kind of spur of the moment. They're like, you should come.
Right.
So I'd go there and I'd hang out with them while they were practicing, and some of them ran a show in the area. Like they ran basically like a Whose Line Is It Anyway type show. And they get to practice and I'd get to sit in with them. Of course, this is years ago, but yeah, I learned a lot of fun stuff from them.
It's so much fun. Like, look, I was a music kid in high school, so I played violin and piano and all that crap. And when I tried to pivot to acting, my orchestra and music teacher got so bad. So they were like, because I was one of those kids that would pick up an instrument and within a couple of days would have the basics down. So he got really upset when I tried to go to the theater group. It was like, no, absolutely not. That's unacceptable. Okay.
Wow. Well, that's all the more reason to leave then if you had somebody like that.
Oh, I was a geeky kid that was like, okay, you know, I wasn't that kid. I'm not. If this person was in high school, it's a different story.
Yeah. We all grow. We grow, learn.
Yeah, exactly. I remember watching one of those who was like, oh, Whose Line Is It Anyway? So jealous of them. That's a great show.
I love Whose Line. I love all those guys.
Yeah.
Whose Line. I also enjoy
I could do that.
There's the new show on Dropout TV that's it's got Brendan Lee Mulligan in it and a bunch of, you know, Sam Reich is the host. It's why can't I think of the name of the show?
I don't know.
What's that?
I don't know. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Game Changer.
Okay.
Where the game changes, and it's very much like an improv, Whose Line Is It Anyway sort of thing. Game Changer, yeah, Rockheim, thank you so very much. Game Changer is also a really good one. If you guys go check that one out.
Brother Lee Mulligan, if you're watching, I sent you a DM. Please answer it. Anyway.
Me too.
Yeah, me too. Please.
Probably.
I totally sent you DM. Please. You know.
Guys, by the way, let's go watch a clip of Classic Sam.
Oh my God.
I think animals.
Oh, look at this one. It's a clip from her show.
Take over the world.
Is it really?
Can you imagine if dolphins could like walk on land? They would.
Potions and potpourri.
It's Kayla.
Dolphins they're not nice. They're so mean.
They're super mean and they're like oddly sadistic.
So guys, go check out Classic Sam. All kinds of stuff right here on Twitch. You can also find her on Instagram, right? Instagram, Twitter, TikTok,
Twitter. I'm on Kick, but it's totally Twitter. I'm on Kick, but Kick doesn't do anything. I'm just on this, and no one takes my name. But I'm everywhere. I'm everywhere.
Everywhere.
I'm on YouTube too.
On to YouTube, everywhere. So go and check out Classic Sam, NYGM, NY standing for New York, right? Right?
Yes, it is from New York, because born and raised, baby, from New York all the time.
Listen to that New York
100%.
accent kicking in hard right
I'm
there.
just saying, you have to understand how it is. You have to be here all the time.
Do you hold back the New York accent normally?
I do.
Or do you just emphasize it more right there?
I 100% hold it back. So I realized I hold it back when I was at Gen Con. When we were chilling out, relaxed, everybody, like, it's been a long day, super tired, just kind of like hanging out, talking, whatever. And everyone's like, your accent is so heavy. I'm like, what are you talking about? Apparently, when I'm tired and comfortable with people, full New York.
Full New York.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, when you did it right there, I was like, that is a complete, like... And I was trying to figure out which one is the real accent and which one is not.
Well, the other thing is that if I'm talking to my mother, a West Indian accent comes out. So, like, a Guyanese accent comes out. So, because my mother's from Guyana. If I'm talking to my sister, my other sister, she's from St. Vincent, that comes out too. So, like, it totally depends. Like, it also depends.
It depends on who you're with and who you've been hanging out with.
Yeah, kind of. A little bit. It also depends on how comfortable I am. So if I'm super comfortable and like tired, like all of a sudden it's like coffee. Coffee. People like, it's so funny because the reason I found out, they're like, say that again? Like, say what again? Like, say the word again. What word are you talking about? I don't understand what you're saying. Like, the word you just said. We need coffee? Yeah, that one. Coffee. Like, oh my God, ew.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, it totally comes out.
Well, Sam, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate you. I'm glad you were here. I had a lot of fun. Hopefully you had a lot of fun. Audience, people in the chat, I hope you guys had a fun time and enjoyed hanging out. We're going to raid on out, guys. Thank you for being here. I will be back tomorrow with some Once Human. Wednesday is normally our tabletop RPG day, but that is also probably going to be Once Human because we are still tentatively hoping that we can go out of town for camping, but odds are slim. So we're just going to see. We're just going to follow the thing. So, guys, stick around for the raid. We're going to raid our friends over at Dungeon Scrawlers. They are a bunch of authors, writers, everything of that note, and they are doing tabletop role playing today. They're doing some Star Wars today, and I actually don't recognize any of the players on there, but I know the entire theme. It's called Dungeon Scrawlers because they scrawl because they're all writers. So
that's awesome.
Come and join us on the raid to a Dungeon Scrawlers. Of course, we've mentioned Eric Scott DeBee, Aaron M. Evans. We've got all kinds of people from that show on these shows. So go ahead and give them support. And they do have a follower only chat, it looks like. I'm getting a notification, so just an FYI, when you go in, we drop them that follow. So thank you guys so much for being here. Take care. Good night. Take care of yourselves. Love one another, and we will see you down the road right here on Epic Realms. Have a good one, guys.
See you. Good night, guys.